welcome back. Another day, another space. Figured I'd kick on up for a little bit. It's fun to kick it up on days like today where we've seen Bitcoin, ETH, some of that type of stuff climb recently, right? And we have seen a brief little sell-off in a lot of the collections that were incredibly popular the end of December, beginning of January, prior to this run-up in the underlying denominated asset. So, I view this as an opportunity, and I think it's fun to be able to dive in here, be able to talk through the FUD, and be able to look at what really is trending and what's happening around the corner, the real momentum that we have to look forward to. So anyway, let me tweet this out real quick. And if you guys want to join as a speaker, I will bring y'all up here with me here in just a bit. But for now, 80s, DOG, welcome up to the stage. How are you gentlemen doing?
What's up, my brother? What's up, audience? Living life today, baby. Living life. It's a beautiful day, man. Beautiful day. That's a fire thread you put out earlier. God tier alpha, by the way.
Appreciate that, sir. DOG, how about yourself, my man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm so excited for this space, bro. I got nothing to say really right now, but I'm excited.
Hey, love to hear it, man. Love to hear it one way or the other. You know, the thing is, it's kind of funny when I started this space, I had nothing exactly that I wanted, no agenda coming in here, right? I shared that thread earlier, so I figured that'd be a good baseline foundation topic. But, at the same time, man, I'm down to talk through literally whatever. I think it's one of those things. There's a lot of stuff happening right now in the market. And I just think it's a lot more important to be able to talk through the FUD than it is to just sit there in silence. A lot of people, I think it's really easy after, even after like things like Pudgies and the Plague and, the seals, a few of those type of assets that were absolutely ripping prior have been cooling off. I've noticed a little bit of a sentiment where depending on whatever it is, there's just, a little bit of a sentiment of, I don't want to say being defeated, but the same energy isn't there. And I think the energy should be here now more than it was while that shit was pumping, right? You got to bring the energy when there's opportunity. And right now there's a shit ton of opportunity. Man Brown, welcome up to the stage. Don't think I've had you up here before. Love the play.
Yo, what's up?
How are you doing today?
Thank you, sir. Doing good. It's freezing here.
Where are you?
California. So
freezing. Are you Northern California?
Nah, Southern. It's like a good 50, 60. So, that's freezing for me.
50, 60 is freezing. That's hilarious.
Hey, it's like 50-something in Florida right now, too, and I'm freezing my ass off, so I can definitely relate. Love to see a fellow frog up here on the stage, too, brother.
Oh, yeah. Love the frogs. Love everything with the plague. Love ponds, everything they're building over there. Dude, I still believe it's only a matter of time before plague is above 1 ETH easy, right? Like, if we get the type of run that I'm thinking that we're going to get, I don't know. Like, did any of y'all have the opportunity to read through that thread today? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I read it. Made me super excited about what's going to come. It made sense about what's happening in the market. A lot of pullback on your blue chips. But like you said, like people were getting scared to like close to support. That's a normal thing. But everything's setting up to be super solid next few months.
I think it's a big hidden lesson in there, too. It's like, pay attention. I mean, you mentioned the volume, man. It creeps up real quick. So just be prepared. Do your due diligence.
Yeah, that's been the thing I've been trying to make a point of recently in some of these spaces. It just took me a minute to finish this thread, right? Where strength returning back to ETH does not mean that every single ETH denominated asset is going to tank, right? Like, I don't think that's the case with what we're seeing here with NFTs. It is not a rule of thumb like what I've seen across, most of the timeline and conversations in different spaces that I've tuned into, even earlier with like I jumped in for Oak Space for just a minute. And I love those guys, right? Like I think they've got, great view of the market, but either OSF or Mando, one of them was saying that, hey, it's basically a rule of thumb. Like we've seen in the past, as ETH strengthens, ETH NFTs sell off. And I just like that is not a fact, right? You have to look at the fact the biggest run that ETH NFTs have had was in that August to September timeframe, at least when things really started to get kicked off and people really started to recognize the NFT marketplace as what it is, a lot of potential there, right? Like that's where the billion, the $3-4 billion volume month came in when it had not seen anything remotely close to that prior. So, I think that we're really on the verge of that right now as you're looking, right? As Bitcoin and as ETH are climbing back out of this base range. I think it does the exact opposite of what a lot of people are expecting right now, right? It brings confidence and interest back into the market. And as you have these different blue chip projects that have started to solidify themselves and slowly climb in price, and you see volume across the board slowly climb with that without any unique buyers, in my opinion, it is just a matter of time before a new influx of unique buyers. And what does that mean? A new influx of liquidity. And where are they going to go? They are going to go to the projects that have led the way throughout this bear market, right? Like that is where it starts. It starts with quality and it starts with a slow grind, but then it happens all at once, right? Like you can see even throughout the course of this, we haven't had incredibly high volume across a lot of these projects. Like volume has returned, but it's nothing too insane yet. And they've still managed to continue to grind a lot of them to new all-time highs. So you think about it, whenever you do get a new influx of unique buyers and that volume does start to shoot up with it, what's going to happen to the projects that have already been strong, right? You are not going to have too much of an opportunity for those to be reactionary, right? By the time that you realize, oh shit, this stuff is moving, if you don't already have your position at that point, you probably lost out on a couple multiples, right? And that doesn't mean that there's probably, that there's not more opportunity past that. But I really think it's still one of those things that anybody that has, exerted some form of patience throughout the course of the past few months, whenever that is that this shit happens, they're going to be rewarded.
Well, I think you hit the nail on
One
the
of the things
head too with patience. That's the key right here, right? Is having that patience to set yourself up. That's where a lot of people, I think, miss out on the constant speed of turmoil that goes on every day. People trying to FUD all the time, but having patience to persevere through it and have the resilience to set yourself up, man. That's where you're going to really separate yourself from the rest of the pack.
Yes, sir. PP.
Yeah, one of the things you brought up too is like, we don't have a lot of new unique buyers coming into the NFT space right now, but as you see Bitcoin and Ethereum, continue to run, you're going to me, it seems like you're probably going to see a lot of people that, when Bitcoin used to pump, a few years ago, they would look at altcoins to try to multiply that BTC to get more BTC. And to me, if you look at Ethereum like you used to look at Bitcoin and altcoins, I think you're probably going to see people gravitate towards the most talked about thing on Ethereum right now, which is NFTs, to multiply, their very new ETH stack. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some new buyers come in the next few months.
Yes, sir. But the funny thing is that I've noticed the amazing thing about the blockchain in general, I mean, it's kind of a pro, kind of a con, depending on how you look at it, right? But it is public, it's transparent. So I have learned more about trading and market psychology from NFTs than I have trading any other market, because typically you don't get full exposure to the order books in other markets. So you don't see how individual participants are actually, the psyche behind what they're doing, right? Like diving through people's listing strategies and diving through the way that there are a lot of participants out there you see where they try to buy the momentum of something. Like, I think I brought this up the other day where I was looking at feet picks and somebody bought one at 0.1. Literally 10 minutes later, listed it for like, they listed it immediately for like 0.12. And then 10 minutes after that, they listed it for 0.09. And you just sit there and you're like, okay, what is this mental disorder that's happening in their head right now to be able to rush to that? You see, there's a mixture of that out there. There's a mixture of, there's a mixture of being able to see that they're like long-term conviction versus short-term flips versus this and that. And time after time again, I think what I've noticed is the people that have the higher conviction to be able to hold through shit are typically the wallets that I'm looking through that are the ones that are the most successful.
And one thing I've seen over the past 3 or 4, days, as new NFT projects are starting to mint. I think a kid called Beast, everybody's talking about that. It's been a while since we've had a hyped project come out where people are upset that something's going on with the mint or they can't mint. Like too many people want to mint. To me, that's a sign of things to come. People are upset they can't mint a project, and then you see the after effects in the market. But we haven't had that in a while. I can't remember the last time I've seen a project where people were just upset they couldn't mint.
Exactly, man. Yeah, it has been a while since we've really seen that. So you're even seeing a little bit of that return back to the minting space. There's several mints that have done well recently. And, obviously one of the things that I'm actually more encouraged about is there are more mints that have done poorly than have done well. But, there are a few that have done well right now. And there are a few that are starting to, but it's returning a lot of interest back into it. And I enjoy seeing some of these new mints start to do well because it does return this level of interest back to retail, where this is a retail driven market, right? But, one of the things that I think isn't talked about enough, and I understand there's a difference as far as the overall, when you're trading fungible assets versus non-fungible, the total volume difference isn't going to be like for like until you have something like perpetual swaps as an instrument to be able to, or futures to really be able to trade it without actually trading the underlying asset itself. But, $5 billion is the most the NFT marketplace has ever seen in a month, right? Crypto as a whole, the crypto marketplace as a whole, over the past 2 years has ranged from 25 to $75 billion of volume per day. Per day. Okay? So if you look at that and you say, okay, let's just say NFTs have the potential to claim, 1 day's worth of volume for the rest of the market, 1 day's worth. That would be a new record for NFTs as far as their total monthly volume by a 5x. Imagine what 5x the volume of what we were seeing in the spring would drive toward a lot of these projects. And that's why when I look at the potential for where we are and what is to come, I wouldn't even be shocked if we were to see new volume / unique buyer records this year. Now, I want to clarify, I still think 2024, 2025 are going to dwarf everything for NFTs, and those are the big years to look forward to. But, it wouldn't shock me, even if during a little mini run here, we ended up topping some of those previous records, even in the midst of a bear market rally. So I've got somebody else new to stage. Actually, I'll kick it over to Brain Fart first. So Brain Fart, you got your hand up. How is it going? Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always good to hear brain fart from your basically when you say it, it's funny. I just had like a question. Okay. One, like the first thing is how are you able to make all of this prediction? Like basically like everyone was like under the state of mind that recession is coming and like things are going bad and down, and then you come up with your chart and you're saying, okay, the market is going up, NFTs are going up, and all of that, right? Like, one question is that, like, how do you come up with this? And then the second question is like, basically, what are your thoughts about Web 2 company moving into Web 3? Like, basically, like Web 2 companies launching their NFTs and they moving to this industry. Do you think like that is going to be like a good thing, or should people just stick to solely like Web 3 companies and do not worry about like the Web 2 side of it? Like, what do you think? Because we've seen like Etihad launch their NFT. I think they have some perks in regards to that. And then Lacoste, I think, has their own NFT as well, and they are coming into it. So do you see like other Web 2 brands moving towards this as well? And
Well,
what are your thoughts about that?
yeah. So, talking about one of the things that I talked about in the thread that I briefly touched on is the potential for NFTs to resonate with the broader market because they're much more intuitive to understand as digital collectibles. And on top of that, I didn't even get into the fact that, a lot of these, quote unquote Web 2 brands also, when they're looking at making a dive into the space, they're not looking at launching tokens, right? Because there's a lot more of a risk of, like nobody wants to issue a tokenized security for their company, right? Like, so what are they going to list? And again, this goes back to kind of the plus and minus of a lack of regulatory clarity when it comes to NFTs. The plus is there's a lot more opportunity for expansion, until there is regulatory clarity. And, obviously with that, there's some danger that comes along with it. Whenever you're a Web2 brand and you're looking for kind of bridging that gap and doing something that's a little bit trendy, a little bit sexy, might end up adding to the bottom line as well at an extremely low cost basis, it's NFTs. So, at the end of the day, a lot of these Web2 brands are going to shill our bags indirectly because people are going to get involved with those projects. And they're going to find out, well, what else is there out there with this, right? So, talking about the viral aspect of it, it's just a lot easier for people to understand digital collectibles than it is, some brand new currency for whatever. So, yeah, man, like that's why I'm so hyped about everything with this is there's just a lot of potential that people are still failing to recognize out there. I'm going to kick it over to the only eight. Looks like you are a SEAL, so welcome up here. Don't think I've ever had you before. How is it going?
GM, things are going pretty good. I just had a quick question. Is there like a tool or a website you can use to see whenever like new buyers are entering into the space?
Yeah, man. I mean, there are multiple tools out there. PP, was it you that was telling me that you use like Flip to be able to track some of that? Somebody was telling me that they use Flip for something like that. But I know Ledger Status has a really cool NFT data website called Flip XYZ. Shout out to them, worth checking out. I think that they do a decent job with that, but I'm not completely versed on their tools yet.
Okay, sounds good. I'll look into that. Thank you so much.
They also have, on to me, one of the best sales bots on Twitter. Because one cool thing they do is like when the bot tweets like a sale, like it'll show the rarity of that trait, like on like a scale. Had lunch with Ledger a few weeks ago, and he was showing me all sorts of stuff about it. But yeah, shout out to Flip.
Oh, that's fire.
I just have a quick question, Cleo. I was just wondering, what cryptocurrency exchange do you use most when you're short trading?
Oh man, I used to use FTX as it's well known, but bro, I've been experimenting with a lot recently, and I've been using a lot of Bybit, honestly, like as degen as that is, but it's I like it, so yeah, but I mean, still experimenting a little bit.
You don't use Binance?
No, bro, I'm not really a big Binance user. That's just me. Man Brown, hand up. What's going on?
Hey, so recently we've been seeing this like common case of like NFT communities coming back. Like, usually like a founder would buy it out and come back. We saw that with like the Pudgies. Is there anything that you're eyeing on at the moment where you believe like this community is going to make a comeback? Are you anticipating any community like this?
Bro, I think that we've already kind of seen that, to be honest, where, not to say that there's not potential for more acquisitions where there's solid communities that have kind of been left leaderless, but I I don't know, man. I think that's a little bit more of a gamble unless you have some type of insider info where you know that, hey, so and so is in the background talking to potentially acquire something like this. Just it doesn't make as much sense for me to play into that as it does play into strength, right? There are some projects out there that I look at that were multi ETH projects that are still down 70, 80%. And they might be slowly climbing up just on broader market strength. But I would personally rather buy one of these projects that's closer to all time highs and play into the momentum than I would play into a dead project hoping for, some type of life to be breathed back into it for a bounce, right? Playing into strength in a trending market, is a high IQ move in my opinion. I got trapped on that personally on the altcoin trading side of things back in, spring of 21, where there were a lot of bags that I was familiar with that were kind of dead. The old Dino coins, right? And like Zcash or Litecoin, etc., where I was determined a lot of those, XRP even, you can go down the list, EOS, that I was determined we're going to see a little bit of a relief pump back to their old highs. Why? Because the rest of the market and a bunch of the new coins were doing crazy things. And there was a huge opportunity cost associated with that because I watched a lot of those other strong bags that I thought were already too strong continue to be strong, while I watched the other bags that I focused on in the Dino coins, either sit there flat or barely trend up, but never did anything close to what I expected. So I think playing into strength is a better narrative than, praying for a bounce. PP.
Hey, one thing I wanted to touch on is what Man brought up is the people coming in and buying like old projects and renewing them. One thing that really stuck out to me when Luca acquired Pudgy was like he was a community member beforehand, and he just kind of didn't like the way things were running, so he had that opportunity. So if you can find projects that are like that, and like the person who's buying it has like a good track record, I would probably take a bet on those because you see what Luca's doing and continue does. But honestly, like if it's just somebody new coming in and trying to buy a project to like revive it, that's tough to do because like not only do you have to like get familiar with your community, but you have to get familiar with like all the lore. But like Luca was like he was a penguin before he bought it, so that's one thing to think about.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's a really good reminder to play into strength. I pretty much got caught up like last year too. So yeah, I appreciate the response.
No problem. No problem at all. Love all those type of questions. And, hey, again, these are just my thoughts. Doesn't mean it is a guarantee, but, there are also thoughts that are rooted, even if it's not on the NFT side of thing with that, because we don't have a lot of the NFT data to be able to draw back on and say, well, this is what's happened every other time in the NFT marketplace, right? But markets behave similar regardless of what asset is ascribed to them, whether it's altcoins with or without pictures, similar concept. So like that's what I'm looking at with a lot of this. And hey, even 2024, 2025, I think we're going to see a whole new generation of NFTs that there are going to be projects that appear during that time period, what we don't even know about yet, that end up ripping, where some of your favorite projects that may still be in the gutter may still be stuck in the gutter. And it's just like, it's how shit goes, right? Like, it's part of the game. You don't know for a fact what's going to be a winner, but I think playing into strength is usually a safer bet. Just my opinion. So I am really excited though to even see. Bro, I can't even say the name of it. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about it.
Fee picks?
No, I can't do it. I can't do it because like everybody, if you see this, every single bounce that happens, like I have not sold them and I'm not going to sell them until, like I said, they if they ever get close to flipping the Wonky Stonks, I will sell my 20 feet picks to dump it there. But bro, like you should sell into every pump right now, regardless. Like dump them to zero. They deserve to be at zero. I'm embarrassed that I even tweeted out about them, but they are fun.
I'll tell you
Funny.
this. I'm ready. I'm gonna FOMO feet picks at 2 ETH. I will FOMO. I'll be there. I'm gonna be that guy.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it. But I'm going to follow the FeedPix devs mantra here and just say nuke them all to zero because they deserve to be zero. And like I'm actually speaking truth in that process. So, but on the real though, like I said this the other day, and I do mean it. Hey, memes have power, and they obviously have momentum associated with that power. But when I look at feed picks versus other projects that have a similar floor, that are quality projects that have been grinding up, that have been sticking around, like personally, I think buying a quality, that has been grinding throughout the course of the past year is probably a better longer term play. But then again, you never know the power of memes. Like that's all I gotta say toward that. But I was pretty shocked to like I saw them trending to zero today. I'm like, all right, finally I'm gonna be able to, dump these for zero whenever they hit zero because it's zero or Valhalla. And then all of a sudden, like, I take a shit, take a walk, get back, and like, they're double back what they were. So it doesn't make sense. The market is weird. The market's off. But, one way or the other, like it is part of the narrative that NFTs are back, right? Like 3 or 4 months ago, you didn't see that type of shit running.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was about to double down on feed picks when they when they draw back to like 0.07, 0.075, and then I went to the grocery store and then I saw your chart in the DMs and I was like, motherfucker, dude. You shouldn't have faded the dip.
Bro, like I said, no more tweets about the feed. I'm gonna let them do their own thing.
Liar.
Yeah,
Outside of it.
You're a liar.
same here.
Miladies did have a pretty crazy run. I bought a Milady earlier, and I wish I would have had more ETH to buy more than a Milady, but I bought a Milady and stacked it because I like the Miladies are just one of those communities, man. They're like a cult community. I feel like they're not really associated with any other NFT communities whatsoever. They're just their own thing that exists on CT, but they kind of give me the pudgy type vibes, or they just haven't gone away. So I finally was like, "F it, I'll at least have a Milady." Whatever they end up doing, I'll go ahead and stack one. Did that, and the freaking Miladies ran up from 1.3 to 1.8 because just a complete coincidence. GCR aped into 9 Miladies right after I tweeted about it. Like 10 minutes later, like shit happens. It just, and then after that, they just started to run. And you know what's crazy? Not many people in the NFT space know who GCR is.
Kaleo, did you see the stonk that someone let into my bid last night?
I saw that, man. Hey, shout out to you. That was an amazing stonk. I also had a couple stonks that were, bro, I've done this every time. Like I shared that chart in the DMs too. Every single time I have bought the stonks back, I have bottom ticked the stonks, baby. It is without cease because I bought a few. And then again, we had like 20 or 30 that were swept back to 0.3. So it's beautiful.
I was stonk shopping this morning and I noticed the highest return, 510. It's a nice ribbon. And it was minted, and the wallet has been inactive since mint. So the highest returning stonks probably lost forever. I put out a YOLO bid on it just in case, but I think it's gone forever.
Bro, what was funny? One of the stonks that I bought this morning, Hondo DM'd me, or he texted me. He was like, "Hey, one of the stonks you bought was a gift that I gave away to somebody that was in my Bible study last year. They obviously ended up dumping it." And then right after that, the funny thing was, right after that, one of the other people from his Bible study ended up just dumping into a WETH offer. So he was like, I guess they were texting each other or something, and they were like, "Oh shit, you remember that thing that Hondo gave us?" Like, yeah, it's worth something. Let's go ahead.
They're probably like, it's been a year. He probably won't notice.
Yeah, no. Like, we notice everything. But Hey, good for them. I mean, like people can either show you with a gift that like they might have needed it for something and like love it when somebody needs it, or they might have just shown, what the value of his friendship was. One way or the other, all good. Eloc, you got your hand up, sir. How is it going?
Kind of had like a broad question, but then like specifically an example of the penguins. Like Boggs always says that like NFTs are like leveraged ETH plays, and like you look at the penguin USD chart and like we're kind of holding pretty good, but like the ETH chart's kind of down a bit compared to like where we were a couple weeks ago. And like, how do you see like the interplay between like the USD value of ETH and then like also like how do you see it interplay like in a big bull market? Like, does it have more of an effect? Like, because like we saw the apes
Well,
run up, and then like you had that like leveraged ETH on it on top of it.
bro, I'll just say this. I think it's tough for any asset when your largest holder dumps like 100 to 150 of that in like a day and a half because they're on the verge of liquidation on Aave. So the fact that there's still over 5 ETH after, 9x, whatever ended up dumping literally his entire, like he repaid, I checked his wallet. He repaid $850,000 worth of loans on Aave to avoid liquidation. I haven't, gone through and seen what his actual account health is, whether he closed that out or not. But one way or the other, like he repaid 850. So he needed. He was in trouble, and the pudgies were his exit liquidity to be able to make sure that he didn't get liquidated. And the fact they're still holding over 5 ETH with that is pretty crazy. So I actually think there's a lot of opportunity with that. And I feel bad for the dude. He's one of those guys that that he obviously has supported the Pudgies through thick and thin throughout the course of the past year. So sucks to see him having to part with so many of those. But like overall, I think it plays into strength for the project in the long run because one, there was a fire sale that wasn't something that that the person that held it wanted to have, right? He didn't sell it because the project was weak. He sold it to literally cover his ass to make sure he didn't lose any more with that. So, sucks to see, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of opportunity along with that. And I don't think that it's necessarily one of those things that it is purely market related where he was like, hey, ETH is super strong right now, so I'm going to dump these so that, I can claim as much of that ETH to USD value as possible. No, you saw literally what he ended up doing was paying off loans with that capital. Like it was, it wasn't for anything else. Charles, you've got your hands up. What's going on?
Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. You made a comment about GCR buying some ladies. That's interesting because, like you said, like a lot of people in the space probably have no idea who he is in NFT space specifically. And like when that guy, says he's shorting a coin, that coin's about to get absolutely demolished. So it's interesting. I'm sure a lot of people don't even track his wallet for one, and then for two, it's just cool to see, regular ERC20 token traders, start to enter NFTs. I didn't even know he liked them. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. But he's been involved in NFTs for a long time. You look back to August of 21 and, he aped like 100 plus pudgy penguins. So it's not something new as far as his entry into NFTs. Like he's been involved for a while in the background. He's just not super vocal about it on the timeline like he has a lot of his alt positions.
What's up, gang? I think GCR owns like a ton of ladies already. He owns like a large percentage of the supply. So like him buying 9, I was like, that's kind of weird. But maybe it was just an action of buying 9 to start a pump on his larger position. I mean, it also says something about like, okay, he's buying NFTs, so like that's bullish in itself. But also like, yes, he's the greatest trader and he has like incredible calls, but a lot of us came to our own decision to buy NFTs on our own. We didn't need GCR. So it's like confirmation bias when something like that comes after it. But it also says something about the bullishness around ETH and, the comments he made. And I think a lot of people who buy NFTs, one, it's part of like there's this community aspect of it. Two, for me, it was largely like ETH bull thesis. And this is an interesting way to acquire ETH. I mean, I think it's cool how like some of these projects are going up while ETH price is going up. Like that's awesome. And like that's the home run trade on the NFTs. And I still think we're really early, and that the huge washout we saw and like some of the newer projects coming to light, or ones that have kind of been taken over, the market was like starving for like, why do we want to own the NFTs? And so I think the utility aspect is really starting to show its face, and people can say that that's a meme, but I think there's products being shipped and communities are growing around that, and you can see it. I don't really know that much about the Miladies, so if anyone wanted to tell me like a little bit like what they do.
I have one word for you.
What?
You ready?
Yeah.
Milady.
Yeah, they throw a great party. They throw great parties out. Our Basel, like it was sick. Like it was only like a little pool party, but I mean I should have probably bought a bunch of Miladies at that point. I don't know why I didn't, but they have probably the chillest community out there.
They just throw events, like that's it, parties.
I mean, it's art.
It's art. I mean, it was really funny. You walk in, it was like this dude's house, and he just had a picture of a Milady like the side entrance, and so at least I know where to go now. But no, yeah, I don't know really anything about the project, but I mean everyone there is pretty based.
I think they make a lot of money farming on NFTX. Like GCR has like 400 pooled Miladies. They're just farming tons of fees off of.
Okay, so there's the
like
play.
Exactly. So I got a couple questions with you on that. One, do you know when, like, and how I've seen several tweets recently about GCR becoming the new main character, and like, where is that spinning up from? Is that from like his degen alt plays that are toward these dead coins that everybody hates right now? So the fact that he is longing those and bullish on those assets, that people are, upset with him. Like, what exactly is it that people are attributing him being the next new main character for?
Because there's always got to be a main character. And whoever's the most vocal, even though they're correct, they'll just somehow make it seem like it's a negative thing.
Okay, so that's it. Like, there's no other thought. I was like, did he do something that I'm not aware of? Or, like, what exactly is it that people are chalking this up for? Because I've seen so many tweets in the past few days out of nowhere pop up for that.
I think because people are not positioned and they're sidelined and they need something to get mad at. You can tell.
And there's no one else left.
Yeah. There's like there's no one else to make fun of. I don't know. It's such a waste of time. Instead of making fun of GCR, figure out how to make money. You're missing like an incredible market right now. That's the thing that amazes me, is like people dwell on the stupidest shit still. Like, get in the charts, I mean, it's incredible. Like, you get these windows that last, we don't know how long, but maybe it's a couple times a year where you have this opportunity. Floor it in these instances. Like, and you can kind of see that, like, I think a lot of people are missing it right now.
Kalei, one thing I want to point out, I've been coming to your NFT spaces for months now. And one reason I know NFTs are back is, dude, like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe even, a few months ago, these spaces would get like 100, 150. But you're slowly starting to see these numbers come in on just like run-of-the-mill spaces. And like a lot of the PFPs in here are not NFT PFPs. So it's a lot of new faces showing up, trying to figure out what the heck to do with NFTs. So welcome to degeneracy.
It goes back to my thread that I shared initially, where a lot of it is looking at it's only a matter of time. All of these moves that we've seen recently are all with the same pool of unique buyers consolidating to, strong plays. So it's only a matter of time before the FOMO from the outside comes in and we see an increase in unique buyers and an increase of volume. ISO.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were trying to talk. I saw your.
But also, I pinned a tweet up to the top. I don't know if you saw it. Punk6529 pointed out that we just crossed over 10 billion for an NFT market cap, which is interesting.
That's so tiny compared to like altcoins.
Right.
No, it's incredibly small. Well, we've got a couple other hands up I'm going to pass over to. So we've got Bog with his hand up. Welcome back to the stage, Bog. How are you doing today? I'm sure you're having fun.
Yeah, I just made a trade. This is like fantasy football, like where I don't even know if it's fair or not. I just traded 70 feet picks for a wizard hat Pengu. So is that a W, guys? I don't know.
Wait, I didn't hear what you
Bro,
said. You
wait,
traded feet picks
what?
for what?
I traded
Hey
70
yo,
feet picks
what?
for
That
a
is a
wizard
W
hat Pengu.
all day, any day.
Bro.
Yeah.
Big dubs, big fucking dubs.
Okay.
Dude,
I
Headwind's
just
gonna
wanted to
love
know.
you now.
I was about
Is
to
it
say you
bad that
raised
I
your
feel
hand.
stupid that like I felt stupid that I did it though? But I
It's
probably
extremely bad.
yeah.
Dude, you're kind of going off the rails a little bit. I'm a friend, and I've known you long enough to tell you you've gone off the rails. When Kaleo said, "Bog, you have your hand raised," I'm surprised he didn't say you have your foot raised, because the amount of feet picks posting is just kind of out of control.
No,
But I
I'm
love
actually
you.
dude. The
Bro,
Ever since
engagement has
Art
been
Basel,
insane.
Bog,
when
Like
you
you've
when you
honestly,
changed.
trade something that is worth zero for something that is a holy grail, like that is a good deal any day. I don't care what the number next to feet picks on OpenSea is. It can say 1 ETH, it can say 5 ETH, it can say zero point 0.1 ETH. The value is zero. So the fact that you secured a wizard Pingu with that, props to you.
yeah, I'm riding the rest. I have like 70 remaining. If those do send, I'm gonna just buy stonks with them. So I mean, I got the penguin out of it. So
Please don't tell me who traded you that.
I don't. I'm not gonna. I'm not disclosing. I'm not.
Okay.
I didn't sign an NDA. I signed a friend DA.
but
That
Bro,
person
five
But it
must
is
years
be
someone
later,
in
high.
our chat.
what I
five
will
years
say though,
later,
like
you're
if
gonna
you
be
were to,
like, sorry, PP, what were you saying?
I was just saying, if you were to tweet, "Hey, I just acquired a new wizard penguin by the exchange of 50 feet or 70 feet picks," I think that would be a
Dude,
pretty solid
he
treat.
wanted to do it for
No, I was gonna say
100.
that story is gonna be epic. Like years down the road, when someone's like, "So, like, how'd you come up?" They're gonna be like, "Okay, well, you know about feet pics, right?" And you're gonna be like, "Imagine feet pics, but pixelated." I had
Dude,
tons of them.
I have an idea for another space though. If FeedPix makes another all-time high, I'm just gonna play the Footloose soundtrack in a Twitter space just with no one on stage and
Oh, that's
see.
goated. Dude, I'm mad. I saw them at like 0.07 and I was like, this is ridiculous. And then I saw the next day they did 2x. I was like, fuck.
Dude, I literally hosted a space. I have to take credit for it because it was the dumbest thing I ever did. I didn't know if it was going to work or not, but I just I took a shoe from the closet. I tried to. I just like copied the Goblin Town thing, and I just started like smacking the ground. And I'm like, wait, this is really stupid. What the fuck am I doing here? So I went to my computer. I'm like, all right, what do I do now? Like I had like 50 people in there. I'm like, all right, let me just start playing like tap dancing videos, and then I'm like, all right. They're like 2 minutes each. I'm like this isn't going anywhere. And I went to like Irish River dancing when they had like the hard shoes and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is getting wild. And then more people are joining. And I'm like, all right. I looked up like that off Broadway show Stomp, and they're just like going nuts. And I just played. I had it on like for like an hour. Like and people were just staying in there, and like I swear I kid you not, like some guy just sent me a message after. He's like, "That's the best Twitter space I've ever been to." I'm like, dude, you need to go out more, man. That was ridiculous. But you should see the volume. Like the most, I'll take credit. The most volume traded for the feed picks is when I hosted that space. That's not a coincidence. But yeah, like I can't do that again. There's no like. First of all, that's something you can only do once. And secondly, I'm like I don't think anyone will, have the attention span to go through that again. I need to switch it up, and there's only so many things you can do with feet, like as a feet themed Twitter space.
It's ridiculous, man. Hamyan, welcome, welcome up, man. I know you chimed in a little bit, but first time I think I've actually introduced you. Pursue your passions and let your ambitions carry you. I buy things and sell things occasionally. Occasional moneymaker. What a description, man. Welcome up to the stage. What do you have?
I love that you exactly read straight up my bio, and it's funny because that quote is from a Travis Scott song.
The way I said it was just completely.
That's literally how he says it. Like I'll never forget. I was like a sophomore in high school. I was late as fuck. I used to have English first period. And we used to do, like, I don't know how you guys had high school, but we had 4 classes a day and they were 99 minutes long. So I was already late as shit to my first class. And the reason I was late because I was smoked weed, and the rule in high school was if you show up late and you smoke weed, show up extra late but don't smell like you smoked weed. And I was driving, and then it was like, pursue your passions and let your ambitions carry you. And I was like, you know what? I like that.
Dude, that is.
But
that is. So yeah, what you got, man? You got your hand up. What's going on?
I was gonna just say, like, I know, the pandas and the pudgies and the seals are all in a very tight community. If any of you have pandas, I just want to talk about the new the art update today. Did you guys see that?
Yo, wait, let's kick it over to ISO for that, because ISO is a big
Yeah,
panda
ISO was in
maximalist.
there. ISO was a speaker in the ISO was a speaker in the space. I saw him in there. Shout out
Bro,
ISO.
Panda's new art is awesome, man. They killed it.
Wait, ISO, 2 things. One, I don't know if you pay attention to NFT charts or not. There are a lot of people that don't, but I know from your crypto Twitter background, you're a trader by heart. Like, one,
Yeah.
the pandas chart is one of the most bullish charts that I've seen on literally any crypto asset. Like, it looks like it's about to explode higher again. But then, two, hey, they've been doing a lot of really cool things. One of those things is the art. Tell me a little bit more about what you guys talked about and why you're bullish on pandas.
Oh man, where do we start? Well, so like the art upgrade, I thought was really clean, and they put a lot of time into that. That was like.
It was
set
clean.
7.
The zombies look really cool. Like, my zombie looks really cool now. I haven't updated my PFP, but I will. But it looks really fucking cool.
I think the red pandas hit really hard now because they have a beard and everything's much more vibrant and pops. And then like the golds, I mean, just kind of like Twitter's like it's just full of pandas right now in my feed, probably because they all follow me.
Imagine being a guy who owned a red who sold the floor because he knew it was a red with the panda points came out, and then the new update came out, and now reds are considered like dope as fuck because they have the beard.
Yeah, so I told people, I was like, reds are sacred. Like, red gens are sacred. Do not sell them. Because all you have to do is you just pay attention in Discord and Telegram, man. Like, they were like, there's new art coming, right? It's like, great. Okay, what's coming in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Panda points, whole marketplace. You literally can gamble, like play poker, roulette. Your pandas accrue points, and then those points can be used in like mini games and whatnot. So like stupid addictive games like marbles, or like a lot of the stuff that are very I've like made a meme around the PP decks being sticky, where you're getting that retention ratio of users coming back. And like there's more game theory now to holding a panda, because you can level up that panda, and then the value of you're accruing value over time. You can resell that higher, right? And so the entry into this arena is you need a panda. And so now, like, I think the floor price of the panda is like 1.8, maybe. I don't know what it is.
It's like 1.6.
Is it 1.6?
Oh yeah, it was 1.8 the other night.
I have 1.78 on OpenSea. But
it was 1.8 the other day.
Yeah, Blair's like 1.63.
Yeah,
So just that variance.
So I think like just understanding Bags' background and the vision and watching the steps kind of play out thus far. If you have a thesis and the idea, then let it play out. And like there's a lot of opportunity for this project to become much higher market cap in my mind, and really try to bridge the normie non-crypto audience into NFTs, which I think is inevitable, going back to what Kaleo said. Like the NFT market is going to be the bull run for this like the biggest return, in my opinion. And
yes,
so it's coming from a guy who like literally didn't know anything about NFTs until the spring. Like, and I was like, these pandas make sense. I'm gonna buy a bunch of them.
Dude, doesn't it click when you just get in? Like, it's hard to explain to others. Like, as someone like I've been trading for like I really got into NFTs with the Pudgy, so that was like August 21, and I was trading for like 4 years, I guess, at that point. And I thought they were dumb as hell. Like, you know what I mean? Looking at SNL and the apes and everything and Top Shot, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then, just I guess it's just lucky or whatever. You join the Penguins, and it all like just made sense. So it's funny how that happened with you and the Pandas.
the first iteration that we saw in the bull run. Now we're in like the second iteration, which makes more sense to me. The first one really didn't. I think it was like largely just like rare art driven, and I didn't connect with it as much. But when like the pandas to me were always this like access point. Like I have this credit card and I can do these things. So that was my initial idea behind it. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I have this and I can go to sporting events or music festivals. Like they throw their own music festival, or I can, they bought a 15-year box at Allegiant Stadium. So like you have the opportunity to get highly discounted tickets to a suite. And then you start thinking about like, how does that translate into like, if brands wanted to get involved in this, and then the multiple revenue streams. So to me, it's like early stage startup investing. Whereas like most of the other NFT stuff I saw just didn't make sense. Like Penguins, clearly, I mean, I see that vision, early stage startup. And then that idea alone, like if NFTs become kind of the play, and that's how normies come into the space, back into crypto, and it becomes like a big mover, then you're going to start to see actual like venture investment in it on the equity side of these companies. And the NFTs are the way that you're as a shareholder are going to appreciate in value. So it just like was crystal clear to me of how I thought about like the pandas and the penguins. And I probably am missing other projects, but like I would say the crossover between the two projects is really good. You had a lot of people from the penguins start to support the pandas, including the founder. I'm sure they're going to do a panda penguin party. I mean, they've already talked about it on Spaces. And they're both unique value propositions, like around brand and IP. And then the pandas are more like a multi-faceted approach with like mini games, point system. Eventually, I think it can be brand IP because like it's very much like a social club. Both of these things, and that can be very attractive to outsiders if things catch steam. And I just don't see that happening in any tokens. To be honest, like there's not the same like passion or like level of interest in my view right now. So super bullish on NFTs.
So true, and I love to hear that, man, because seeing your passion for NFTs in the space is a lot more special to me than seeing the average NFT aficionado, because there just aren't many people from crypto Twitter yet that have really bought into the concept of NFTs. The average person still stiff arms them completely. But when you're looking at the overall viral potential for it, I don't know if you saw my thread from earlier. Like one of the things that makes me incredibly bullish, not just the market caps, right? The market caps are a potential when you look at it and you're like, damn, okay, you're a $5 million market cap for some of these, a $50 million. When you start attributing market caps, you understand just how small the space is. But one of the things that I think is a little bit more clear is looking at the overall volume. And yes, I get it. Trading a fungible asset versus a non-fungible asset, two completely different things. But you're insane if you don't think that perps are going to land on NFTs eventually. So when you look at you look at the total record monthly volume for NFTs as $5 billion, and the total crypto market as a whole trades $25 to $75 billion daily.
Yeah.
Like, bro, it blows my mind how people don't see the potential that's still there, that's untouched yet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, look, it's easy to dismiss things, but if you don't like give it a chance, then you could be missing something, right? So, well, I don't like NFTs. Like initially, I didn't understand them, but then I started to do a little more research and was like, this is starting to make more sense, and there's some interesting things happening here. A lot of people just don't take the time. They're just like, fuck those. Those are dumb. You guys are buying pictures. Like it's like, okay, well then sit on the sidelines because it's been the best. It's like been one of the best performing assets in the bear market.
Like, exactly, man.
It's insane. Like the return on some of these NFTs, if you got in during like the blood when everyone was crying and like the spring, and you just kind of you didn't even need to be smart. You just needed to like kind of align yourself with a community, do a little research, and then start to meet the people in it. And you're like, yeah, this idea could work. They're like $300 pandas. Okay, cool. Buy 20 of them, or whatever it's a good return already, right? And you're getting ETH on that. So Yeah. I'm excited. I think there's a lot more room to grow. Like someone was like, I just wanted to pump for a month. I was like, dude, this is gonna last like a year. You just have to hold on.
Years.
Yeah.
15-year
You've
run.
had your hand up for a minute. What's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Sorry, also, hi, Khalil. I don't know if you remember me. I've been in a couple of your spaces
No, I
before.
do.
I also just think it's very, like, it's very simple, because I was the same way. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My background is in trading. Like, I started back in, like, 2018 as a Forex trader. And, like, I used to trade Forex. I used to trade stock options and stuff. And then one of my friends back in March of 2020 was like, yo, there's this, like, I had, like, a computer background. They were like, Bitcoin, Ethereum. They were like, there's this thing called Ethereum. You could buy it for like $150 right now. And at the time, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I had a little bit of money. I was like, okay, whatever. I'll put $1,000 into this at 150. Holy shit. I was like, yo, fuck the stock market. I was like, what? Fuck Forex. I was like, where am I playing? And then I got into the NFT space a little bit. My first NFT experience was, I don't know if any of you were around for this. You know what DeFi Kingdoms is? Old school
Oh
DeFi
man.
Kingdoms. Oh,
Jewel?
old school DFK. Yeah, Jewel. Yeah, so that's how I got
Oh
into
my
NFTs.
god.
Yeah, dude,
I have so
I
many
bought a
threads on
fucking
that.
hero. I bought a hero from one of my really, like, by my best friends. He cut me like a good deal. In hindsight, it wasn't even a good deal. But like, yeah, I bought a hero from him for like $800. Yeah, I know. And then I got into the space and I was like, okay, GameFi. And then that shit went to like zero. And then I was, there was like this one little crab game on AVAX that I saw people playing a lot. I think Krabata or whatever. Yep, the Krabata. And like, I saw people printing like 10K a day off of their fucking crabs. And I was like, what? But then, like, everything went to zero. People faded out. I focused on trading because that's what I did. And then I'll never forget because I won my zombie panda on a retweet. It was like a retweet giveaway from the Kumpai Panda account. And honestly, ever since then, I've met so many cool people through the NFT space. Like, I mean, I already have some or I already have some panda boys like Big A Hill and them. They wanted to come out because I live in Colorado, and I was like, they were like, we're going skiing. I was like, whoa, you guys got to come out here. I was like, my friend's family has a cabin up in the mountains. I was like, they'll let us rent it for like $100. I was like, we can go up there and go ski. So it's cool, the community that I've met. And like, I was not a big NFT trader because I had a really good friend. One of my best friends was a big NFT trader. He had like 4 Bored Apes from, like, way back when, in like summer of 2021, when they were like sub 10K. So he was stacking those, and then he kind of put me onto the game because then he got the mutant and the ape and all that stuff. And that's what I kind of like about the pandas. With these pandas points, is it's kind of like, if you accumulate those points, those add on. It's kind of like I guess it's kind of like one of those apes that never claimed their ape coin. It's like, not only do you get the NFT, but you also get a second set of utility with it, which has value. And same thing, like, I mean, I'm not selling this panda unless I'm getting paid, like, down payment for a house. But I just thought it was, I just thought, yeah, no,
Dude,
straight
they
up, like,
gave
I'm not.
away so many pandas. The Kumpai pandas gave away so many.
And
Like
it's crazy because I got this panda given away to me, bro. I mean, like, like early in the project, like way back. I mean, like, there was no snow on the ground, and it was last year in Colorado. So I mean, that was sometime past last, like, September. And I literally grabbed it and I was like, bet, I'm not selling this shit, because the best offer I had on it was like $200. I was like, I got it for free. I'm not selling this. I was like, I like the people. And like, I literally made dope friends through the community. Like, I have multiple panda people who are probably, hopefully, going to come out sometime soon in the next month or two, and we're all going on a ski trip. Like, I never would have
dude,
met
I'm a
those
huge
people.
skier. I literally am just like holding NFTs, ETH, and Lido, and going skiing. Like I have 5 ski
Bro,
trips planned.
get your ass
And
out to
Rooster, yeah, I
Colorado.
was
I
about to
literally
say it's
live in
insane, dude.
Colorado. Get your ass
Let
out
me know
here.
about that
I'm
trip.
gonna be in Vail.
I'm here in Denver right now.
8th to the 12th. I'll be in Vail.
Dude, I
February.
live 35 minutes away from Vail. Bro, hit me up. I'm not even joking. I'm so fucking serious.
Do I follow you? I gotta follow you back. There's so many
Yes,
pandas, man. I
bro.
can't keep track.
I
I
know.
got you.
Dude, I have, bro, I would take you. There's a spot in Vail. It's called Bojo's Pizza. It's fucking amazing.
Bojo's Pizza.
They built a wood brick oven out of the side of a mountain. Like, it's literally the mountain goes into the restaurant. Like, they built the restaurant around the side of a mountain. And, like, the brick oven they cook the pizza in is literally just a fucking caved inside of the mountain. And it's great food.
That's sweet. I gotta check it out. Yeah, I'll give you a shout.
This is what I mean. Like, this is exactly what I mean. Like, I had no idea that this man, like, we're being in this space and, it provides that sense of community. And especially in a bear market, I feel like community matters more than anything else because it's like, there's no better way to cope than someone being like, yeah, bro, I'm fucking wrecked. And they're like, me too. And then, like, I'm not saying it makes it better, but it makes it relatable to other people. It's like, and then the people that have conviction and we're like, hey, like, there's light at the end of this tunnel. Like Kaleo says, it's like, I mean, bro, this dude is sitting here in the midst of a bear market, weekly hosting. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was here last week saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, the repetition of your
it's repetition
is impressive, Kaleo.
Hey,
is
I appreciate
fucking
it, man.
impressive.
I told y'all, like, especially entering into this year, I've got a renewed vigor / sense of hustle that I just haven't had in a minute. And like, as insane as it sounds, so much of it comes from just doubling down my conviction on where the NFT space is headed. And like literally wanting and believing that by repetition and literally by just showing up, that I can turn the stonks into something great, right? Like, that there's nothing stopping the stonks from becoming something great other than like continued repetition. And eventually it just reaches a point. You even look at it right now with the pandas. Like, and the pandas were a good case study for me with where, bags just consistently showed up. It wasn't something that just hit up. Like the majority of people, when you have something that doesn't work out immediately, just quit. You can look at countless other NFT projects that have done that, but literally all it takes is just showing up.
He was on like a roadshow, man. That's why I was like, this is like literally a CEO like trying
straight
to
up
pitch everyone. And it was really good because like the message was clear. He understands like what needs to be done. You go on like 8 spaces in like a week, and then every single space with new people on it. And Luca does the same thing, and you do the same thing. It's like the message you're not like ramming it down their throat, but the more times you hear it, the more times it's going to eventually click with you. Like it has to be like an elevator pitch. Like, here's why this is going to work. And like, sure, people can say no, but you'll have probably a large percentage of people, if it's a well thought out business plan, or agree with you, and they'll buy into the idea. Like that's just how. I mean, the same thing with tokens and stocks. Like it's the same thing. So it's just a different asset. Like, but it's very much a similar approach. So it's really like the founders who are the good founders are gonna really.
And we're blessed. We're blessed to have a
project.
founder like Bags too, because like he definitely has he has the experience, and two, like he was saying earlier, I saw you were a speaker in the chat. I saw like it took a minute to mint out. Like it was an organic mint out. It didn't mint out instantly and then floor price mooned and then fucking crashed. No, it was like a nice, slow, like organic mint out, and like he wasn't wrong. Like the type of people who mint or have these pandas, we're all a very similar group of people. Like the way he was talking about tapping into that level of market where it's like, adult males who are between 20 and what I'm finding out, like fucking 50. I didn't know some pandas are boomers. That's adorable.
Yeah, dude. Some of these guys are like lawyers and
I know.
doctors.
I was like, damn, bro, you're rich as fuck. I was like, when did you get your
I was
first
like, you
money?
make
He's
more
like, when I
money.
was 30. I was like, when did you get money? He's like, when I was 35. I'm 50 now. I was like, oh shit, I'm 25. I was like, never mind. But hey, that tells me. And then like same thing they said though. They said that like, you're doing something right if you're in a space like one thing I've learned is like when you're young, like prime example, Kaleo doesn't have to do this. I'm pretty sure dude's a vet. I'm pretty sure he'd probably be well off if he wasn't here. But the fact that he's still here is like, my man likes to see other people win. And I appreciate that so much out of somebody who has a level of status, because like, I mean, dude has dude has status. I was like, you're definitely one of the top guys. And like the fact that you're still out here talking to random people who might even have like 2 followers, but they're in the space, and they tell you about a win and you hype them up, like that's what. And the same thing with bags too. Like that's what you want to see out of like. And same thing with like the pudgies and the seals. Like even if you're balling beyond belief, you love to see the other person next to you win, regardless if it's like $100 dub to them. Like that $100 dub could mean the difference between if they get to eat or not. And I just think that's wholesome, because not all of us are like, not all of us have the money to be like, yeah, you know what, 30 ETH here and there. Like, dude, 30 ETH to a regular person is like a fucking salary. And that's
fair.
And that's crazy. So yeah, back to you, ISO.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I'm super vocal on Twitter about certain things, because I'm like, look, at one point, we all didn't know something, and then you follow the right people, or you just kind of figure out a way to channel, like, who you think is maybe on top of an idea, right? Idea generation comes from other people most of the time. Let's just, like, whatever it is, a light bulb, a tweet or something. And so, like, it's been great to see how thankful people are for, like, trading calls, right? Like all the liquidity stuff I post, like that's free. That's okay. Like people made a lot of money trading those things. Now people are like, oh man, I got in the pandas at like $300. Like this is freaking sick. Now they're making money, right? You may be starting something for someone else that could become a career for them. That was a side hustle. I think that's what a lot of people come to crypto for, right? And I think if you put like, this is my job. I do this every day. Like I try to explain to people what I do. And I'm like, I own a bunch of pictures of pandas. And normies can't relate to that. But they're also like, damn, like your panda dude is worth $7,300 that you got for free. Your zombie. Like that's pretty cool. So, just sticking around and like maybe you're playing poker in the pandas like daily poker thing, or you just like retweeted something because Bags gave away so many, like who knows, man, that can materialize into a lot, and then that could be a big starting point for you, or whatever the case.
I haven't sold yet, and I was like I said, like I haven't sold, and like I am not a made it dude. I have a 9-to-5 job. I work a normal job like most people do, like, and I still will not liquidate. I have an offer right now for 4K. 4K right now could terminate my lease and get me out of this fucking hellhole apartment, but I'm not doing it because that's down payment for my house. No. I'm not. And like I love the community, bro. Like I honestly wouldn't like having a non-PFP panda, especially I haven't even switched it yet from the new update. I was like I thought it was cool before.
Yeah.
I'm not unless it's like something that genuinely is like, okay, like this will change my life, like I can put a down payment on a home for my, future family and stuff. Like other than that though, I was like, no. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I saw those random little lowball offers, and it's crazy because I'm not an NFT dude. I'm a trader. This is like the first actual NFT of value. I had a bunch of heroes in DFK, but those are zero. So this is the first NFT that I've actually had, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I have something of value, and I realized.
Oh,
yeah, we got rugged there, my man.
Sorry.
But, hey, I agree with you. No, you're good. I was going to say one of the things that I really agreed with that you were talking about there, though, is just the opportunity that a lot of these, like, you look at Bags with the way that he did a bunch of those giveaways. I mean, heck, I can even go back to earlier where I was talking to my buddy Hondo, who co-founded the Stonks with me. And like I said, we saw a couple of the ones that he gifted to his Bible study back in the day getting sold. Like, it's awesome. I love seeing that because he was like, he basically, back whenever we first minted, gifted everybody in his Bible study like $500. just like essentially that's what happened. And it's like, people want to hold on to it. Great. If they don't, no big deal. It doesn't change the dynamic of where everything's heading. But I think that the overall, like the generosity aspect is something that, it creates a culture that's different and kind of permeates and persists a lot longer than what you have in some of the other projects that don't necessarily have that.
It does, because like, dude, like I honestly just like I was just like, oh whatever, like retweet, and then I'll never forget, because I woke up at like 1 a.m. and I checked my Twitter and I had a DM from the Kumpai Panda account, and it was the verified one, and they were like, you're the winner. And I immediately screenshotted that shit and I sent it to Bags, and I was like, yo, is this for real? He was like, is that the official account? I was like, yeah. He's like, then congratulations, you won. And not about 10 minutes later in my account, I had my zombie. And literally at that time, zombies were like $300. And I was like, dude, I'm going to hold this shit. And I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, I got this. I was like, it's $300. She's like, what are you going to do with it? I was like, I'm going to hold it. I was like, I'll probably meet cool people. And I shit you not, I've met so many dope people. Like I said, I'm a trader, not NFT guy. I didn't even know how to refresh metadata. I had to have Ahill like FaceTime me one night, and this man had to literally like talk me through refreshing metadata just so I could actually move it on. I didn't even know how to move it to ETH. It was a AVAX Panda, and I was like, "Yo, how do I move this shit?" And like he sat here on the phone with me for like 3 hours. We hung out, we just chilled, took a couple shots together on cam and whatnot, and like we just hung out, and like it's cool because now I have like a lifelong friend through that. Like I talk to this man every day. Like this man hits me up and says good morning, and we talk real life things, just random things. And I think that level of I guess in my brain I call that utility, which is like the utility to meet like-minded people. There's 6 or like fucking like 9 billion people or something on the earth. I was like, to meet like-minded ones like yourself is a blessing. I was like, and if you get to do it through a little community where everybody gets to make a little money too, I was like, dude, that's as good as it gets. Like, what more could you want?
It's pretty sweet, and they understand the in real life component, which like the events and pandemonium, and like that's like whatever they do once or twice a year. Maybe they're gonna have it where basically you have Panda, you can go to the music festival that they throw. They did it in Vegas. I didn't get to go to it, and then they like, I don't know. I think Bags maybe like went to Dre's after with some of the Pandas. Just very much party lifestyle.
I told Bags he has to fucking Bags got to book out Red Rocks, dude. I don't know if any of you have been to Colorado, but Red Rocks is one of the coolest venues on.
Bro, book out Red Rocks. That'd be intense. But how much does it cost to book out Red Rocks?
Yeah,
Red Rocks is
Red
Rocks is only 10K capacity. I was told that the Pandas thing was like on his little interview, like it was way more than 10K. Red Rocks is only 10K capacity.
I think they have some pretty big ideas planned, so it will be exciting to see.
It'll be really cool. It'll be really fucking cool.
Hey, Udi, welcome up to the stage, man. I know you were slowly creeping your way into NFT. I don't want to say maximalism, but into opening yourself up to the idea of NFTs. How are you doing, my man?
Hey, what's up? I still don't get it. Like, do I save them like on my phone, as my wallpaper? Like, what do I do with them? I bought a few. I don't know what to do now.
You just stare at them every day.
Hey.
Instead of charts, you just stare at pictures. It's actually much better.
I sent one to my mom. She didn't get it.
Sense.
Like I'm looking at all my refresh Pandas, and goddamn, they're cool. I'm now one of these like NFT guys. Now I know how you guys all feel.
Well, that's a funny thing, man. At the very beginning, Udi, I was the same way, right? Like I didn't really understand it, and it's just one of those things that when it clicks, it freaking clicks. It's like, Udi, did you ever play RuneScape back in the day by chance?
No, I'm actually too old for that. I was already old when RuneScape came out.
Okay, so you were too old for even RuneScape. Well, dang, I don't know of a good connection to make with you then, man. Like, you know, but
No, I'm
bro, for
kidding.
real though,
Ooh, did you play Pac-Man?
Atari.
Oh yeah.
he was a Galaga maximalist.
Did you just Google that?
No, bro, like, okay, I love Galaga. Like, that was one of my favorite things anytime I went to the arcade. Yeah, like, I used to go to the arcade. Do they even have arcades anymore outside of, Dave and Buster's?
Fuck
Um,
yeah, we got this place called Nickel and Play in Colorado. Every game is a nickel. You walk in there, it's called Nickel and Play, and they have a bar in there. It's amazing. So yes, we still have arcades. I whooped my girlfriend's ass in Street Fighter last weekend.
okay, so arcades are still a thing. Arcades are still a thing. I don't know where I'm going with that, Udi, but what I was originally going to say with the RuneScape concept was back then, bro, like, literally think about it from this perspective. It's the same thing with punks. Like, the most desirable assets in that game were the absolute most useless. You like they had these drops on holidays where they released items that were holiday items that were tradable, but they couldn't ever be made again. It was a one-time only drop. So eventually, even though you could do nothing with these items other than wear them and kind of show them off to other people, they became the most valuable assets in the entire game. People used them to trade like large sums of whatever, and it ended up becoming, same type thing as like punks, right? Like, what is the utility of a crypto punk, right? Like, if nothing else, it is a flex. People used to shit on the art, and the higher the price became, the more people started saying, damn, like, this art is incredible, right? Like, so I I I'm a big fan of, as much as I like some of the utility that some of these projects are starting to push, I think right now, like, the art and the community side of it is more important than anything else. That's what makes sense to me, is the collectible nature of a lot of these. And if nothing else, that it's just a digital flex. And when you're looking at the digital economy and where things are trending, even with social media and everything else, it's a lot easier to flex a digital, you can prove a digitally scarce asset that you own and flex it versus trying to flex some shit coin that you've got in your wallet, right? Like, I don't know. It just makes more sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
for sure.
I think it. So if you
It's
look
also
at,
easier than flexing like a car, because if you want to flex the car, you have to like show it to people. You can only see like what 10 people a day. With NFTs, you can show them to thousands of people every day.
yeah,
Am I
it's
saying it
also
right?
like, look at the way younger generations view digital assets like skins, video games, Robux, these like mini games, Fortnite, and then how how everyone's trying to level up characters with different attributes. Like, I don't know, I think it's kind of like happening in the NFT space right now with some of these projects. And so when you have that stuff happen and you have large amounts of people flock to something like that, those are users essentially, or customers for larger brands to then advertise there. It's like similar to what people thought was going to happen in the metaverse. It's kind of like happening in the NFT world, and that's how you bridge the normie non-crypto crowd into the crypto universe with this type of stuff. You're not going to do it
Bro,
with altcoins.
I'm telling you, that's why, like, I really do. As insane as people said back in like October 21 when I did the stonk mint, like, everybody said pictures, JPEGs of digitally generated price action for charts is absolutely insane. Who would ever want to collect that, bro? I'm telling you, it is something I believe in so much that it resonates with a broader audience when you're talking about people and bridging the gap over to, collecting with something like this. I think that it just makes sense. And like, but it doesn't. I get it. I can understand, I guess, how it might not if you don't have any NFTs, if you don't collect in that. But once you do, it's just one of those things. Again, like, it just clicks. Like, it freaking makes sense.
I gave my nephew a Genesis Panda for Christmas. It cost me $300, and now I don't know what it's worth. 3,000, right? I gave my brother one, and they're like, "What are we gonna do with these?" I was like, "Just wait and see." I was like, the idea generation came largely from my nephew, your son, who talks about these digital assets and like all the things that he does on Robux, and he's showing me different characters. Those are basically NFTs. They're just not on chain yet. So, I don't really want to keep talking about the pandas, but like, dude, you're going to be able to do these things with the different traits with pandas. You're going to be able to mix and match in a lab and change these things up, which is very much the same as what people are doing over in the video game ecosystem. And then that can really attract, the advertising side of it. And then are some of those attributes going to translate into in real life things, like Steph Curry selling shoes and you get an NFT with it? It's hard to see now, but directionally, this is like where things are going. Is it going to work? I don't know, but the writing seems to be on the wall that is the trajectory of stuff based on cultural and demographic things that I see. So it's like longer term thinking for this. It's not like buy it and flip it right away. Like I think there's a lot of arcs to this story that are really interesting.
I agree, man. Well, I've got two questions. I'm going to go first to Udi, then I'm going to go to Brain Fart. Udi, I'm just curious, when a Bitcoin maxi, well, first off, do you have any Bitcoin maxis that still follow you, that still interact with you?
I must have blocked like thousands of them. Like, I think I have the most comprehensive Bitcoin maxi block list, but I still have some. And they're like, they have fun, like, being my reply guys and like being annoyed in my tweets. It's a fun relationship.
Well, I'm just curious, from that crowd. I mean, heck, here's the funny relationship that I think you would understand more than anybody, right? Whenever you made the jump from being a Bitcoin maxi to opening yourself up to a multi-chain future, and you started sharing your thoughts about that, you got a ton of shit from that initial community that you were with for the majority of the time that you were on Twitter and involved with crypto, right? So, I think it's been the same experience for me, really being involved with NFTs more, except for from the crypto Twitter side of things. Like, and the thing is, crypto Twitter, who trades these shit coins without pictures, doesn't realize the irony of that judge. Like, it's honestly a similar relationship to CT and Bitcoin maxi Twitter.
Yeah, people are just resistant to change. I think that things change and it's just difficult to handle it. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that's what they are. They shitcoins with pictures, and like they're not really that different. They're very similar. I think they're more honest. Because at the end of the day, you're buying a picture of a giraffe, and that's what you bought. No one's promising, like back in my days, back in like 2017 or whatever, people would have promised you that if you buy their shitcoin, they'll make like some crazy AI flying cars or whatever, and like a lot of bullshit and lies. And at least the NFTs are honest. Like, yeah, it's a picture of a monkey, and you can buy it or you cannot buy it, and that's it.
Bro, that's it. That is the thing that makes the most sense to me, because as much as like a lot of the utility projects out there, as much as people hype them, and whenever people ask me anything about, like, I don't invest in any NFTs based on the potential utility, right? Because I think utility is one of the greatest opportunities for failure at this stage. Not to say that like people can't deliver, right? But a lot of the time, whenever people talk about utility and talk about a roadmap for NFTs, I become more bearish, because I'm like, well, as much as there is, a chance that you might end up succeeding with this, in all honesty, you're setting up now opportunities for failure, versus if people just buy for the art and buy for the community, like you said, it's intuitive, right? Like, it's so much more intuitive and honest than the average shitcoin. But yeah, man. So I do love the fact that you're up here, and like the last thing I have that is, have you ever gotten any shit? Like, I haven't really seen you talk too much about NFTs, but have you gotten shit from anybody the few times that you have? Like, even being involved, like coming up on a space like this.
I mean, in the beginning, it probably did, but we're at the point where the maxis are trying to ignore my existence now, which I think is healthy for everyone. So not anymore. But I think the way I look at it, I'm not necessarily going to be the world's biggest NFT collector myself, but what I find really interesting in it is that it's exposing a completely new audience to this world of crypto, people who didn't care about it before, and people who I think if I gave them a lecture about Bitcoin and its unique properties as money, I don't think they're gonna care about it. But through NFTs and through whatever it is, art or community, whatever it is that they find interesting in it, through that, we can transfer some of the values that we care about, like decentralization and self-sovereignty and self-custody and all of that stuff, to a completely new audience of people. So I find it like super exciting because, I've been around for a while and I feel like we've already reached the people who care about, a new kind of money. And if we want to transfer values to a new group of people, that's maybe the way.
Amen, man.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hey,
I think that's
hey
gonna
guys,
happen.
just want to say I got to bounce out. I appreciate the space. Shout out Fart, Alex, UD, Leo, everybody else. UD's not bald. We love to see it. Shout out everybody. Thank you guys. I got to run. So I appreciate the space. Thank you, Kaleo. I was like, hope you guys all have a great day and a good week. Take care, guys.
Hey, I love your energy. How about thanks for coming up, man?
Take it easy, man.
Yep. See you guys
Next
later.
we got Alex.
Hashtag UD.
Hey guys,
Hashtag
how y'all
UD's
doing
not
tonight?
bald.
How y'all doing tonight? Thanks for having me up. I just had one quick story that when you were trying to explain RuneScape and NFTs to Udi, that really like resonated with me. I come from crypto Twitter background as well, and like swing trading, shit coins, that kind of thing. And I tailed Jeebus into the Penguin trade in August of 2021, and it was like so obvious in the sense of like a momentum trade. And so I picked up a bunch of penguins and then, started flipping them and was like, wait a minute, I kind of like that one. And that immediate moment right there was when NFT started to make sense to me from a long-term standpoint, was when I was attached to the asset from a fundamental, like emotional standpoint, as opposed to from a strictly monetary, price action, target, entry price, exit price mindset. If it was a shit coin, it would have been like, hey, we hit the target price, dump that crap. But since there was like this more to it, there was this sense of community, there was this energy on Twitter, and there were people like vibing with one another. And then I looked in my wallet, and there's like, the dude has like sunglasses and is chilling with like a Christmas hat, and I'm like, well, I'm not selling that one. And that was the moment where it was just like, oh yeah, okay, NFTs make sense to me.
Yeah. I love the story, man. I love the story because it's so true, right? Like, again, with a lot of these things, you don't even because that is the utility for a lot of it. Like, it sounds insane. And if you don't end up investing in an NFT whatsoever, like, I don't think it really clicks until you enter into it, but it just makes so much more sense than buying your average shitcoin. I cannot think of any shitcoin that I ever had that type of affinity toward, other than maybe Stratus. Whenever I first really dove down the shitcoin rabbit hole, because bro, I was in like every single Stratus Discord. I guess they had Slack back in the day. Looking at every single announcement, hanging on to every single word that they were talking about with the updates. But bro, I was always let down every single time. Like, at the end of the day, when I looked at my balance, I'm like, oh, did I ever achieve the number that I wanted for a master node? No. Like, this is just a really depressing number on the screen because it used to be more. It's not like looking at a JPEG that's down. I'm like, this is still kind of a badass JPEG.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one other thing too this is particularly a Panda story, but it doesn't apply. It applies to every collection. But my PFPs are one of one in the Infinity collection, and the story of how I got it is a guy in the collection rolled it on day one. Reveal happened. He listed it for 20 ETH, and I bought it, which is a great deal for me. But for him, he was like in need of some home repairs, ended up putting a new roof on his house and a porch, and now his family has like this entryway that they don't get rained on with mud all over. Like, he has like a story he tells of like, we basically like that the panda's like kind of changed his life in a way. And there's like a dozen of them, and I think that's across NFTs. There's a sense of like a comeuppance that's available here that you just don't get when you buy 2,000 XYZ tokens. I mean, maybe it hits 100x or whatever, but the stories aren't as profound in my like. It doesn't feel as profound as in my opinion as the what has happened in NFTs and the opportunity that exists and that random mint. There's a sense of opportunity that exists in a mint and a reveal that doesn't exist in anything else.
Yeah,
Rainfart, you've had your hand up for a while. I'm going to kick
one.
it over to you, then ISO. I'll let you go right after him.
No, I'm good. I was just agreeing with Alex. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, basically, with all this NFT talk, I just wanted to add in also about like ENS names. Like, I've seen a trend where right now, like, people who have like the digits, like the 4 digits, and if they are planning on keeping their, like their punks, like people who have punks, they want to keep them. So they are trying to get their respected digits in ENS as well. So ENS is also like something that has like a really bright future and that has been getting like a lot of attention as well. So even like names that are mixed like mine, like brain fart, like there are like actual names that have been like used, and we have like 3 digit ENS names, which is like only like an exclusive club for like 100 only people ever. And then like, so I believe in the future, like with all of this technology adoption that is going to come up, like ENS has like a really big role to play, because like people would want to have like their usernames as well associated with their Web3 identity, right? So ENS is something that is also like really good and that can go on. Also, like uh, ENS has been getting like a lot of volume as well. Over like 40,000 Ethereum volume has been traded on like just like OpenSea alone. So yeah, just wanted to add that to into this conversation.
Appreciate that, man. ENS is another thing I feel like I don't talk about enough, and definitely deserves some love because, yeah, like whether people agree or not, text. I mean, you even look at the license plates is a really obvious one, right? Where you can look at some of those low digit license plates in Dubai or other states, countries, whatever, and look at it, how it has become such a flex. It really does, like it makes sense. So ENS, another thing I wish that I had more exposure to. I'm just not creative enough. Elok, hand up. What's going on?
Yeah, so I kind of like question for Udi and Kaleo. I have like an IRL friend who's like a Bitcoin maxi, and like he blocked me on Twitter because I was like talking about ETH stuff. He's like, "You're bringing no value to the conversation." But like, I'm just like wondering like, why can't you like be a Bitcoiner? Because I consider myself a Bitcoiner, but like I do a lot in ETH because like it's more interesting. Like there's culture with like the NFTs, but like, why do we have like this group of maxis that just like is so toxic, like loses all their IRL friends and like they like deny reality, like that there's another chain out there. Like I don't understand. And like why can't the Bitcoiners like take the lead and not the maxis in a sense? Because they're kind of just like they just turn into like these religious like carnivores. It's like I don't know. They get in these weird pockets of like radicalization, and it's like what is going on?
Well, I mean, are you sure that Ethereum does exist though? Maybe they're right. Did you ever see an Ethereum? Were you even ever? Did you see yourself and Ethereum in the same room at the same time? How do you know that it's real? Maybe they're right. No, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how it happened. Like it used to make sense, sort of. I think the kind of movement really kind of started in around 2017, where most of the stuff in crypto really were scams. Like 99% of ICOs were like totally scams. And it kind of makes sense to just say that everything is a scam, and that way, like people were able to protect each other. And I think that they kind of missed it when things stopped being a scam. Like, there's still a lot of scams. I would say, I don't know, if you go to OpenSea, it's like 90% scams maybe, but that's a much better rate than it used to be. So if 10% is no longer scams, that's like That's really impressive compared to what things used to be like. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I kind of lost interest in trying to save them or change their minds or whatever. Like whatever, let them be what they want to be. Hopefully, with time, I think that narrative. I don't think that even Bitcoiners like it very much anymore. So hopefully, within time, the Bitcoin community will reject that too. I hope, because I think people are realizing that it doesn't really work anymore.
Oh, I agree. It's just like I think Bitcoiners just have this sense of moral high ground where they believe that because Bitcoin was first, and like I would arguably agree, it is the most secure, right? That it is the most secure,
Yeah, for sure.
decentralized,
I
etc.
think it 100% is the most secure, but when you're trading pictures of giraffes, maybe you don't need it to be the most secure things in the world, like maybe some things need to be super secure and some things don't.
Well, but
And
I
that
think
doesn't
one
mean
thing
they're
that they
immoral.
discredit for, though, Udi, is how long it took to even get where it is today, right? That a lot of these projects that are starting off may not be immediately as secure. And, will they ever get to the level of security of Bitcoin? Debatable. Probably not with the way that it's set up, but you don't know. And that's the thing that I'm looking at right now is that I think that there's just this moral high ground because they're not all on the exact same standard, that they refuse to open up their minds to the ability that there are different blockchains that have different specializations and applications, right? Do you think the average person that uses BSC gives a shit that it's more centralized, like to reduce their transaction costs? No, I think there are a lot of people that trade on BSC regardless, and they really don't like. They obviously don't care about it because they see things like the blockchain being stopped completely to be like after that big hack that happened with the exploit, like so people don't care, and because of that,
It's more than they
Bitcoiners
don't care.
hate it.
It's actually good for them that they stopped the chain and prevented the hack from causing more damage. Like it is actually good for the users.
Well,
Like
it is.
that's the thing that I think that some of the Bitcoin maxis don't get. Like decentralization is great for some things and it is not good for other things. And
Exactly.
it's a spectrum. Like there's a level, right? Like there can be a level of decentralization that's not like complete, and depending on the use case and depending on the users, that might be the right one.
Well, there's
So
a great irony in maximalism of any kind, in the sense that the maximalist themselves acknowledges that the two assets or chains or blockchains or entities or whatever are similar. So the fact that a blockchain maxi is claiming that they're superior to Ethereum or any other chain, it implies that they think that the two are the same, when in fact they're distinctly different. And so Bitcoin is the absolute best and only asset that does what Bitcoin does. And Ethereum is nothing like it. It's a totally different use case. It's a totally different application layer. It's a totally different purpose, just as NFTs are. So when you start to make this intellectual stance that Bitcoin is this one thing and these other things are scams that are like weak comparisons to Bitcoin, you actually just miss the plot and are giving and making false equivalencies. So fundamentally, we don't like the decentralization and sound money principles of Bitcoin are only necessary in Bitcoin. They're not necessary in giraffe pictures. They're perhaps the opposite is the truth.
I agree to that to a certain extent, where you still, if you're collecting a giraffe picture, you hope the underlying chain that is hosting the giraffe picture won't censor your transactions because you sent it through the wrong wallet, or so like you hope to a certain extent that exists. But maybe you're somebody out there that owns a giraffe picture and you're like, man, this got stolen and I want it reversed. As much as I disagree with that principally and fundamentally, hey, maybe there's somebody out there that doesn't give a shit about the fact that somebody else has those decisions over you, and they like the fact there might be a big brother to be able to look out for them. And the idea of that just completely clashes with anything from the Bitcoin maximalist standpoint. So, it does just create this tribalism that you've seen develop over the years. Because like Udi, I think on a lesser scale, I've had multiple friends that have completely cut off their relationship with me because I talked about something that wasn't Bitcoin and it made no sense. Where, there are these people that I don't want to say worship you, but they're good friends, quote unquote. They talk about everything. They grind through whatever with you. They spend all that time, but then you talk about a shit coin. All of a sudden in their eyes, you are this evil person. You have transformed. You have changed. I just disagree. I'm more open to the idea that, again, there are different things built for different specific applications. No one thing is going to be the best answer for everything.
And it's not unique to the Bitcoin maximalists either. They think they're unique in their standpoint, but to be honest, the tribalism exists across all asset classes, and it exists across essentially every function of human society. I remember back in 2017, I got lured into the cult of VeChain, and we hated the Walton people. The Walton people hated VeChain. I mean, there was like big rivalries there, and then like another company would come out and say, "Oh, we're in the IoT space," and it'd be like, "Oh no, that's a scam." And then they're saying this is a scam. Well, it was all scams. It's all freaking garbage. It's all worthless. But the fact is, people get tribal about whatever they're financially vested in. So you're sort of defending the bag. And I think a lot of the superior moral high ground that the Bitcoin maxis take is really ultimately just defending the bag. They're just shilling their own bag and trying to insulate it against the erosion from other asset classes.
Well, Alex, even what you were talking about there, you hit the nail on the head, even within the NFT community, right? I'm actually glad Frank came up. It was perfect timing for this because, talking about different chains, different this and that, like there's even hate within the NFT community, whether it's different project ecosystems within a certain chain or even chain to chain, right? Like, if you're talking about Sol versus ETH NFTs, you even get the maximalism there. Frank, welcome up to the stage, man. How are you doing today?
It's crazy that this space is happening because I think very few people know this, but Udi is the reason that I am no longer like a Bitcoin maxi. And I was so deep, I'm not even kidding. For a year, I was so deep in the cult, and I still believe, I still do think like Bitcoin is one of the best things to hold in the world. But like, there is this religious cult and Udi was the first person to like ever that I saw from that circle to like speak out in a very calm and like just logical way, and it hit me in the right way. And I wouldn't be here, and DGods would never exist, and like none of this would have ever happened, honestly, if it wasn't for fucking bald ass Udi over here. Like his tweets hit me so hard at a time where I just needed to read them. I'm not even kidding. And so yeah, the maximalism thing is just, it's very real, and I think the guy that just spoke, Alex, hit the nail on the head to in the most simple way. I really do think it all comes down to bag behavior and protecting bags. But people have a very very sophisticated way of creating these like narratives in their head of why things are a certain way, and so it helps to have that bias and your bag bias to start out with. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do think that the more cryptos that come out, it does erode. It's not like, it does erode Bitcoin or whatever, which is the natural course of things. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it would grow as big without it either. But sorry, I'm just flustered right now because it's just crazy. Like, yeah, Udi.
Wait. Did we just have Frank come up and fangirl Udi in the middle of the space? Have y'all ever even had the opportunity to meet before?
No, we've talked. I hit him up back in the day and told him this, but I think like very few people in the ecosystem know this. But yeah, it's like there's very few times like I think people in life have like one person that directly influenced them like to that degree, and it's just like, I'm not kidding, like it's just that specific. Udi, the first tweet that he made, like kind of speaking against the Bitcoin maxi cult, like I just saw it and I was like, usually when I see stuff like that back in the day, I would be like, fuck this guy, like Bitcoin's the best, like they don't know what they're talking about. But it was just the way that he wrote it. I was like, fuck, like this makes sense. Like everything Udi's saying is like logical. I can't like refute this. And it just set me down like a whole path where I was just questioning, like, bro, am I in a fucking cult? Like, is this like, am I in like a religion thing? Like, is this real? Like, I believe in Bitcoin, but damn, like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I do like
So
Bitcoin a lot, though.
really, the whole Polygon thing is my fault.
Oh yeah, no, that's. I wish I was mentioning that more on the timeline too. Yeah, it's actually your Udi's fault, guys. So instead of sending me your angry tweets, send them over to Udi. Everything comes back. Everything in crypto comes back to Udi one way or another. That's one of my conspiracy theories.
That's amazing. So, okay, Udi is the reason for the bridge. Like, we have settled that fully.
Yo, let's go, Udi. Thank you for taking the hit, dude. I appreciate it.
Hey, taking the hit. I mean, Frank, you gotta flex your strengths where you've got them. And I mean, like, I see it as a strength, doing something bold. Freaking go for it. So, Udi, I mean, you got to flex that.
Did you just say bold?
I mean, I saw the title of the spaces too. NFTs are back. I think you need to add an exclamation point to that sentence because they are fucking back. Let's go, baby.
Yo, Frank, did you read my thread that I had pinned up there, like tweet number 1? If you haven't read that thread from earlier, it'll hype you up. Now, here's the deal. Here's the shitty part about it. It got a decent amount of engagement, like 600 and something likes and stuff, like whatever, like that's decent. But, I felt like I dropped a ton of fire alpha throughout that about actual data for why the market is trending back in the right direction. And, not just this sentiment of, oh, yeah, like NFTs are fucking back. Like, no, NFTs are back because of XYZ. But then you go through NFT Twitter, and there are these guys that are constantly writing threads on like, here's a thread on how to get more engagement. And they get 10 times the engagement. Freaking thread with actual data back and why NFTs are back. I don't know. It makes no sense.
You didn't pay enough to the bots, man.
Well, I'm part of the problem here because as soon as you mentioned the thread, I literally just like went to it and I just clicked retweet without reading it, so I look smarter to my audience, and so I recommend everyone in the space do the same. No, my biggest tip on threads, it's like there's a lot of like the engagement farming stuff, but the biggest tip is you just want to make every tweet within the thread like retweetable. That's what makes the thread go really viral is when people write threads where like you could retweet like anything within the thread. That's when it goes like really crazy. And so I definitely think you have some boring ones in here, just being honest. But I think you tell it. I mean, I haven't read it. Obviously,
Frank,
I'm on this Spaces,
the
but
deal, though.
it looks like there's a lot of charts and pretty pictures. And so I think you did. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 for sure.
I gave, I put as many graphics as I could in there to make it resonate with people. We're still working on the NFT crowd, getting them accustomed to like, charts and numbers. But that's also part of the thing that people don't understand with why I'm so fucking bullish on NFTs and their potential to go parabolic whenever the market does ramp up is because they don't give a shit about the charts and the data. Like NFT people, it's either they ape or they don't. And whenever they start aping, like they start aping hard. So, from the crypto Twitter side, I think that's why sometimes it's difficult for people to make that connect. There's a little bit of a disconnect there. But that's why, when you look at it, this is a retail driven market. And from the potential for, going viral, like you need that crowd to do it.
No, Gabe Leiden, this motherfucker has said the most beautiful articulation that I genuinely believe is the best way to think about NFTs now. Like, if you look at NFTs as if they are the supreme hobby, like that makes everything make a lot more sense. Like, it's a hobby, it's a hobbyist market, and people can get really deep and spend a lot of money on hobbies. Some people's hobbies are luxury watches. Other people's hobbies are, audio and listening to like, getting the highest quality audio equipment. And there's all these like niches you can go so deep within. And if you think about it, like NFTs are this vehicle for people like the PFP NFT side of the community, right? There's a lot of like technology, like there's going to be obviously Blouse up here with music. There's obviously like, the art side and generative art, provenance, etc. But when you look at the PFP, which is my bread and butter, is my favorite part of NFTs. No bias, but I really just think when people start to look at it, like this is something that captures people's attention 24/7, and if you get into it, you find yourself to have a really hard time having conversations with people that are not in that hobby. In the same way, if you're really into a band or if you're really into a certain niche or whatever it is, if you're into gaming or you're into Call of Duty or Fortnite, it's kind of hard at a certain point to get deep relationships with people that aren't also into that thing. And I think that's the direction that has been really clear despite all the ups and the downs of the market for NFTs, is that like people are like getting more into it even when the market goes down. And the magic of it is it's just not priced in like USD. It's not priced again. There's only 10,000, only 15,000. And so the demand required for an NFT to go up in value is just like so much less than a coin with a ton of liquidity. And like that's gonna basically just trade as a derivative of like the Bitcoin price at any given time. Like there are all these like fundamental things to NFTs that it's an expensive hobby. It could be a cheap hobby. It's this fungible. It's like what's the word? It's just a flexible hobby that people in all kinds of brackets can play in, and it's just very engaging. Like it's addicting to be a part of if you get really into it, as evidenced by all the people at 3 p.m. on a fucking Monday listening to this Twitter Spaces and all the engagement on Twitter. It's like it's the world's best hobby, and I think when you look at it like that, fuck, like where NFTs gonna go? Fucking nowhere.
I think
NFTs are fucking back, baby. Love to hear it.
I was just going to add on to what Frank said. I think that the hobby and the collectability is for one, we've been as a society, humans, we've been collecting since the caveman era, and then you mentioned earlier in the spaces of the the digital or the identity and the flex. But for about 20 years we've been consistently moving more and more online, and we know that trend is going to continue. We're talking about the metaverse and the metaverse era, and that transition towards Ready Player One style experience. And where better? Is a physical Rolex going to represent who you like your flex in the metaverse, or is it going to be the picture of a stock or a panda or a D-Gods or whatever, or a penguin? It's going to be something that people can see and readily assign, and then, as you mentioned, can be digitally identified as being unique and have that provenance on a blockchain. So that's why I think NFTs are taking off in such a meaningful way and are only going to continue to grow and accelerate.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, man. I agree with what Frank was saying there too. Like, I loved how he said it's kind of like a hobby that people share. And I find it interesting that, there's a bit of a learning curve when it comes to onboarding onto NFTs. So it's like there's the fact that like we've all gone through that, and that we all share this love for NFTs and this almost addiction. Like it kind of brings us together, right? The fact that there's that moat around it and that we've gone through that and we know what it takes to get into this game, right? So yeah, it's just appreciate having me up here and love the discussion.
Hey,
and I
thanks
think
for the commentary, man. Frank,
whenever people like question value of like, let's just say crypto, NFTs, whatever it is, I always point back to what are like the things that you can only do in crypto. Like, what are the things you can only do in NFTs? Because that is like where value creation will happen, I think, to the biggest degree. It's like Uber couldn't exist if the iPhone didn't exist, right? Like that's a fundamental paradigm shift of technology where you have GPS and cellular data on your phone. And that's what allows that technology to exist. But that's like a new layer that was built on top. And so I think people get it twisted sometimes when they're like, Web3 is going to replace Web2. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if Web3 is going to replace Web2. I think Web2 is pretty fucking good. Like, people shit on YouTube and all these quote unquote like centralized platforms. But if you really zoom out, it's like, bro, fuck, like YouTube, Facebook, like all these different platforms democratized the civilization of humanity, like by orders of fucking magnitude. And we're upset that they're taking our data or whatever it is. But it's like, it's not broken. People chose to opt into those terms and services every single time to get that product for free. People choose every day actively to get a product for free in return for being advertised to every single day, and that's only growing. And so I'm looking at Web3 and crypto more so like, what can you only do with NFTs? Like, what is only possible now with NFTs? What is only possible now with crypto? And one of the biggest things that I've not found an answer for in anything else outside of Web3 is truly like the community and the network. What I mean is, think about how different all the backgrounds are of even the people on the stage, of people in the audience right now. Like, what other fucking scenario are any of us talking, let alone becoming close friends, let alone like actually, bonding? And it's the shared interest that we have. And the thing is, like, the bigger and bigger the population of the people that have that shared interest, the more value accrual happens in random parts of the ecosystem and parts that capture people's attention. And so, yeah, I just think that's the magic of NFTs, that nobody can tell me that there's something else that provides that level of experience in any other industry or any other like subgroup or product or anything out there. And I think that's just like absolutely incredible. And that is where value accrual will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta agree with you 100% on that because, like, I mean, yeah, you're right. Web 2 is good for what it does, right? And it's like, we still need it and whatnot, right? But it's just like the community that I've found through Web 3 and through Web 3 Twitter. And while I realize that Twitter is a Web 2 platform, it's just the fact that we share that love for Web 2. And that's why we're here, that I kind of say it's like more like a Web 3 platform. But like, man, I was just blown away because like I had an account called Dogtag NFT, and like it was going for 8 months, got up to 3,000 followers, and then it was just like wrongfully banned. And then for the next 8 months, I fought with Twitter, and I finally got it like released. But I created this alt right here, and reconnected with everybody. And the funny thing is, it was like I was about to give up. I was like, should I try to fight my way back, get people back, right? Find everyone's ats and everything. And then people reached out to me. They were like, you should do it. And I was blown away because I was in this group chat that had like 75 people in it. And my new account couldn't get into the first chat. So they were like, fuck it, we're going to fork this thing. And everybody moved to the new chat. Like, I couldn't believe the community and the support that I got. And that was when I was like, dude, like this never happened in Web 2. Like, if I ever got banned from, like, I don't know, Reddit, like wrongfully banned me once, nobody reached out, nobody cared, right? But in Web 3, it was like, dude, how are you doing? Like, get back in here. You know what I mean? And I was just blown away.
Oh,
And that's what I love
you're
about
right,
this.
Mr. E. Like, you don't get that outside nearly as easily. Like I've seen it happen a lot of times with people on the crypto Twitter side where you've seen accounts banned. And a lot of the time with like my smaller account friends, when you've got a larger account, you've got some of the connections to larger accounts. Sometimes it makes it easier. But like my sub 5,000 account people that I follow that don't get that exposure outside of the circle unless I'm following them, I've seen their accounts banned, and it's not until like a month or two later that I end up seeing them across, somewhere on the timeline. But if it happens to somebody within the Web3 space, it's almost this immediate connection of rebuild and being able to find them. And you can easily verify also, literally using their PFP, tracing it back with, what they own, what they don't. So I think there's awesome utility with that. Blau, I want to kick it over to you real quick, man, because you finally followed me back, man. Like, it's been a long ass time, because I remember I thought that I was gonna, get a follow back during that, the space where we had like 100 people blaming it all on Farouk, and it ended up basically only being the 7 or 8 of us on stage that could hear it. But glad that you're here now, man, because NFTs are back. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Sorry for not following sooner.
Just messing around with you, man.
No. Sometimes I just like forget, because like I'm typically multitasking while in a space, and this time I've just been listening and hearing everyone's perspective. Always good to hear from Frank and Udi and Justin, everyone up here. Not to be the Demi Downer in the room, but I do think that like we forget how far we are from peak, and we still don't really know what's going to happen. So I think like we hit like some local bottom of, I don't even want to just say NFTs. I think like markets at large have hit a local bottom, but I don't know if that necessarily means we're out of the jungle yet. I think like I've seen there are a lot of people on stage who have been through many cycles, and I think it's like it's obviously fun to like get excited and be bullish, and I'm definitely like long-term bullish on all this stuff, right? Like I think on a 5-year time horizon, I have no doubt that things will, at least the underlying technology will expand in its capacity and will be more utilized by mega companies and decentralized companies alike. But that said, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next year. I think it's pretty scary in general out there. Like, there's a lot of other indicators that are, a little bit nuts, like things that we haven't seen historically since the 70s. And I think the one thing that's interesting is I think crypto in general is more correlated to regular markets than it's ever been before. So don't quote me on that. I actually don't know the stats, but I'm pretty sure it's close. So yeah, I think, just a word of caution. I hope NFTs are back in general, right? I think we all do. But it's really hard to say how much more pain there will be, or if we've hit max pain. And I'm sure many of you remember, ETH dropping to $88 for the first time. I think that was like 2020, when COVID hit. Like, crypto just got wrecked, right? And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to know when things are going to turn around. But the one thing from a trading perspective, I would say, is whenever it feels like max pain, it's probably a good time to buy, even if, so long as you have a longer term time horizon. Like, I hadn't bought anything in a really long time. And then when all the SBF shit was going down and the news was coming out, I was like, wow, this is probably a local max pain situation. And that was a great time to buy more Bitcoin, at least. And, you never really know where things will go, but if you believe in the tech, on a long-term time horizon, you're probably not going to go wrong in an environment like this where shit's still recovering.
Well,
The
first
pain
and
trade is up
foremost, I
though
want
for
to say
everyone.
real quick. So I'm going to just say quickly, I appreciate your sentiment on that, because it is healthy having other voices challenging kind of where we are, and being able, especially after what we've been through, being able to say, hey, proceed with caution. I think looking at it again, where I'm coming from with, you may have missed it, is where I'm coming from with the NFTs are back is a thread that I did earlier today, basically talking about, we've had this consolidation of, we've not seen any increase in unique buyers over the course of the past several months, right? Like, unique buyers basically decline. They flatten out around like 40K for the average daily unique buyers for NFTs. But in that same time, you've seen a consolidation where floor prices of these solid projects that have been building throughout the bear market have slowly and steadily been climbing. You've also seen an increase in volume across the market slowly and steadily from October through now, right? So what I'm looking at is it's a lot of the same type of signs for what we saw in that summer of July and August of 21, whenever things really ramped up. I think a lot of the demand and a lot of the buyers basically follow the confidence in the market. So as some of these prices start to creep up, and as the volume starts to creep up, the unique buyers also start to come with that. And I think it's one of those things that when it happens, you can look at that jump from July to August of 21. It happens fast. And there are a lot of people that have used the narrative that, well, ETH is getting stronger, so everybody's going to sell off their ETH NFTs into that strength because that's what's always happened. Well, if you look at it, that July to August, September timeframe in 21, whenever the ETH market really started taking off, it started taking off coinciding with ETH running it back from $1,700 back to $4,100 in a little over a month and a half. Now, I'm not saying that ETH is going to have that exact same type of run here, but point being, there were a lot of projects that ended up really taking off during this period where ETH was going absolutely apeshit. So the idea that NFTs are going to sell off all because the underlying asset is gaining strength just is unfounded. So I think there's a lot of potential for where we are, looking at the overall volume, looking at the market caps, looking at the unique buyers. There's a lot of potential across the board. But, at the same time, I do respect having somebody that's willing to come up here, and even if it's not the first most popular thing, be able to say, hey, be careful with where we are, because, hey, there have been a lot of people that have gone too hard into this shit. And because of that, you make poor decisions and you end up suffering from it later on down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still optimistic, right? I always like to, I guess, let's call it, stay mindful of what has historically kind of gone on, right?
So, what do you see in terms of an event or a catalyst that's going to drive price down before FOMC, let's say, on a macro basis?
I mean, I don't. I think it's quite literally inflation. and expectations and rates. I think that's bleeding into everything in crypto. I think it's like impossible to ignore that. So I would say it's like it's not a single thing, but I don't know how. I guess what I would say, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how quickly we go back to the highs.
Oh no, I don't think. I mean that if people
Or
that
even
seems like
highs, right? It's like
Wait, just
asinine to
real quick.
me.
We're not going
It
back
could
to
go to
all-time
30K.
highs. Like I just saw this thread by this guy named Crypto like Spinach Kale or something like that, and I took my 401k.
Crypto Khalifa.
Yeah, Crypto Khalifa. I think that's what his name was. I didn't really read it. There was just some fucking weird charts and stuff in there, but they were all like going up. And so yeah, I just called my mom and told her to just send me over her 401k. And so I'm waiting for the wire right now. Blau, are you saying we're not going to all-time highs, or like this Crypto Spinach guy was lying?
I don't know if anyone's lying. I think the general issue is anyone who predicts prices with certainty is someone to maybe be mindful of trusting. Like the smartest people that I know never like have a specific opinion on prices. Maybe I'm lucky that I'm
What
surrounded
about
by
Jim
people.
Cramer?
I don't even look at that. I think like what we've seen this time is like everything that's happening in the broader economy is very much a function of a combination of quantitative easing and low rates for over a decade, and now rates are pretty high, and there's so much money on the sidelines that will probably flow back in as expectations of rates solidifies and becomes more stable. But NFTs as a function of crypto are still higher risk and more volatile assets, right? There's less liquidity than Bitcoin or ETH by miles because each collection is different, and it's very much a function of let's call it hype, where when something gets really exciting, everybody piles in, whether that's PFPs or anything else. And I think where I'm most optimistic is this is actually like the first NFT cycle. The first, like, or maybe the second. I think in 2021 there was a little bit of a couple month bear market at some point for the art on the art side, but I would say this is like the first NFT cycle in the sense it was really the first NFT bull run that we've seen in a meaningful way. So this is the first contraction that we've seen since 2016, the first mega contraction, I would say, and I think naturally like things probably take some time to get better, but they probably get better. And a lot of the crap is weeded out the same way all the ICOs were weeded out that didn't matter, and the people that really built, like Chainlink being an example of this, right? Like it was at one point just an idea that became reality, and we're going to see a lot of that stuff happen in the next couple of years. I just think it's like from per Kalio's point, right? Like I think it's. I don't want to be contrarian by any means. I think I just like to exercise caution as we get excited about things improving from the lows.
Blau, could I piggyback on that? I think you make a really good point about the macroeconomic environment, and it does bleed straight through into. We can't avoid the fact that there's significant correlation in crypto, and then that the wealth factor contributing to NFTs in NFT bull cycles comes from strong, crypto market movements and sort of wealth reallocation. But I would say if we're in a bear market and it's a bear market rally scenario, there's two fractals that we can look at. And in 2018, at the time, the low on Bitcoin was around 6,500, and that moved up to around 10,000. Which, if you applied that,
3,400 to 13.5 or 14,
that was
a
in
2019.
That was in 2019.
Okay.
So the 2018 fractal, depending on where we are in the market cycle, the
2018 break down to 35,
6,500 up to 10,000 on the first bear market rally, which would put us at about a 26,000 on Bitcoin through this, and that was about a 5-week movement. And then in 2019, we had a 13 to 20 week movement that would round us out at about 40K on this rally. So that's what you're talking about, the 30 some 3,200 or whatever it was up to 14K. But so what we can even if we are looking at this being just a bull trap, if you will, it could be potentially a multi-quarter bull trap that could see us regaining 30K, 40K on Bitcoin, the
Yep.
corresponding translation into Ethereum would be significant. And the NFT bull run that would happen over that period of time, because I think most of us up here would probably
It's coming,
agree.
Alex. It's coming. That's
exactly. I think most of us agree that
there's
NFTs are going to outperform.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't positioned, and a lot of fund managers are still reading yesterday's newspaper of 2022 being bearish, and they're getting their faces ripped off in the beginning of the year, forced to gross up on their books, being net short, getting long, and so you got to watch for like that massive catch up. And like I do think you need to see some normies come in to even think that like we're getting like close to a top, and like I just haven't seen it. And it just seems like the positioning of things, like people are not ready for Bitcoin to go to 30K.
No, they're not. They're not at all. And 30,
that's how
40K,
this market
I
works.
think could potentially run up with it. I'm going to go quickly to Bogfather because you had your hand up forever. Then we'll go to Frank after that, and we'll work our way down the list. Bogfather, what's going on, man? Welcome back.
Thanks. Yeah, I go for a little bit. I was surprised to see the space still going, and I feel like we're back, man. Like this is just a sign, right? We got everyone like all excited and shit. It's getting nice to see. But I was gonna say with 3Lau, I have to agree that we have things like feed picks running. So as long as things like that are going up right now, it's pretty bearish. And I have like 100 of them. I don't know why. So I think I'm pretty far out on the risk curve right now. I don't think I'm even on the chart. Like if there it's like the fuck around and find out chart. I'm like an outlier on that one. So I have to agree with you, even though, I do like Kaleo's thread before. That was an amazing thread. That got me really bullish. And then I'm like, you know what? We have shit like that going up. So we all deserve poverty until that crashes.
Look, I think like what's interesting is just that things are so much better off than they were 2 years ago. So like, we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of my thing, and then Beeple's 2-year anniversary is a week or two after that, and just watching things go from selling NFTs for a couple $100 to tens of millions of dollars. I mean, that's kind of what kicked shit off in 2021 was the year that really everything changed. There was a lot of activity in 2020, but it was still really early at that point in time. And what excites me is if you think about like the first mega NFT bull cycle really started, let's call it January 2021. We're now 2 years later, kind of post trough or, like really low point for this market. I do think that things will start to turn around inevitably. But we also just have to remember how insane things were. I mean, apes were $200 in the initial mint. Like, they're still, you're still looking at, thousands of multipliers there.
And yeah, man, it is crazy the staying power of everything. And I think that's something that's really surprised everybody. I mean, heck, even myself at a certain point, like I thought apes were going to crash a lot more than they did. And the staying power of the blue chips really has been something that's impressive. And, it's not just apes. We've obviously seen other assets like, Dagods, Utes, Pudgies, pandas, start to take off. And like it's really fun to just watch this movement, that it's something that strength can be gained in a bear market, and there are a lot of people that are just ignoring that. So Frank, what do you have, man?
Yeah, I just want to make a public service announcement. There were talks of Bitcoin potentially going to 30, 40K. And if that means the ETH goes to $2,000, $3,000, say it with me in the audience, guys. We list our NFTs higher. If the USD price of Ethereum or Solana goes up, we list NFTs higher. It's guaranteed bag season. If that happens, just have to do my part for the NFT community. We control the floor, list higher. So yeah, just sorry, I had to say it.
Did you see that one Alpha Group thing shared with like some Soul Alpha Group? I don't know if it was a meme or not, but there was somebody that said called whatever at X 50 Soul, called something at 40 Soul, and then they ended up coming back and they were like current price a week later 30 sold. Current price, and we, gain $100. They went through, and they're like, the sold price of their call out was way down, but the USD price were up, and they were like, watch out for more fire calls. And it wasn't like, it seemed like such a serious post. I was freaking laughing my ass off.
I just want to interject and say thank you for having me up, but I got to jump. But I appreciate you guys and a great space. Thank you.
Take it easy, man. Hey,
Later,
whatever,
brother.
man. You've had your hand up forever. Thank you for your patience. Welcome back. We're going to go to you, then Mr. E, then we're going to let the new guest, Farouk, have a chance to speak as well.
Yo, thank you for having me up. First and foremost, I just want to address something, elephant in the room. Did I hear Crocfather call him 3 Lau? Was that intentional?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Did nobody else catch that? And I was like,
no, I was laughing my ass off.
I was like, wait, yo, that
It's
did not
okay.
just happen.
Listen, I don't hold anybody responsible. I was 19. I was in college, and I put a 3 in my name because Blau. There's a lot of other things that were Blau, and it was an SEO strategy that turned into a horrible pronunciation long-term issue.
Bro, it happens to me all the time. It still happens to me. People say, what 3 verman? And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, this person can't read. Like, what's going on? But yeah, no, that's not exactly the only thing I wanted to say. But yeah, Blau, you've been a legend in the game, and I do want to I want to kind of go back in time because January of 2021. I think this was before you got into the whole like I remember when you came on scene and you minted out your your music stuff on NFTs, and I was like, this is insane. And I listened to an interview of yours, and that's when I was like, yo, this guy's talking about like concert tickets being on NFTs. So, and now to go back to
were you talking about like from 2017 when I was like back then, or are you talking about more recently?
No, no. I think it was in 2021. I can't remember who did the interview, but it was a YouTuber, and he was doing the interview with you. I think he might actually be in Vegas or something.
Oh, Graham Stefan?
Yes.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that was a really cool. That for me, that was such an eye-opening interview because it explained what the future could be. But obviously, it's one thing to understand what somebody is trying to explain and then and pioneer, and then it's another thing to fully immerse yourself in it. So I unfortunately immersed myself a lot later, even though I was learning about Bored Apes and all that shit. Never got into it. It is what it is. Sucks, but whatever. I will live. But I do want to go back to that element and part in time because what you said, it's true. I don't think that NFTs are back. I think they've never left. I think they just haven't matured yet. That's what's going on. And the reason I say that is because of exactly going back to what Blau was talking about, which is the whole ICO phase and all that. Things fizzled out, and the strong guys remain. It's the same thing with NFTs, and we've seen this like when we're talking about throwing blue chip names and the ones that have remained. I see a bunch of pudgies here, so I'll just shout you guys out. So obviously, you guys have held a lot of your liquidity and all that stuff. I think this is a part of the NFT scene maturing. Where this goes and how fast it goes, that's anybody's guess. I think anybody that's like making all these speculative guesses is a complete moron because as we've experienced with FTX, anything can happen. It's not in your hands. It's not in my hands. It is what it is. But at the same time, sometimes you need to understand the past so you can kind of have a better understanding of the future and the way that things happen. So I do think NFTs have not been in a lot of cycles yet. I do think it's going to take some time. Whatever we went through in the last few months was potentially their first retrace. So what's going to happen in the next few months? Maybe there's certain bullish case scenarios. Now, having said that, and this is the last thing I'll say before I shut up, the last, I guess, 24 or 48 hours, I have been feeling a lot more bullish than I have before. There's different types of volume coming in for different types of projects. But could it all be just fabricated hype? Yes, that's also a possibility. Could it all be, influenced hype? That is also a possibility because that is how the space moves. Oh, we have an influencer that just left. Haha. But yeah, that's a part of the game. That's a part of the game. Sometimes you're an influencer until you become a founder. So just I do think there's a lot of wisdom in what Blau was saying. Like, don't put all of your chips in one bag, because if that bag goes down the toilet, you're going to want to leave the game. And we need people to play the game, not leave it.
Well, first and foremost, his name is Three Lau. So, I'm just messing with you, man. I think you spit out some fire shit there. And one of the things that I think is, like, in a sense, NFTs are a leveraged bet on ETH or on Sol. But the difference is you can't get liquidated, I guess, unless you're an idiot and you are lending them out to like NFTFi or one of those other platforms, right? Like, so, one way or the other, it helps with the hodl with the fact that you have this shit and, you may experience the volatility, but as long as you are involved in an active project with an active founder, active community, there's a decent chance from what we've seen throughout the course of this, and it is the first cycle that we've seen, but there is a chance that, like just literally sitting on your shit and forgetting about it, you've seen multiple bags that have ended up really recovering and strengthening new highs throughout the process. And you know what? Whether people acknowledge it or not, you can say, hey, there's manufactured hype, there's this or that. I disagree. But I do think that spaces like this do show you that there's a lot more interest than there was even a couple months ago, man. Like, I would be hosting these things at night. We wouldn't have this many people to be interested enough to get up on a stage and be able to talk through this. So I'm just saying, like, one way or the other, it's little things like this that snowball into this confidence. And I think part of that is looking at the confidence of the broader market when you're looking at the underlying asset as it's rallying, when you're looking at some of the strength in these different ecosystems. There's a lot to be excited about, man. I'm going to go to Mr. E real quick, then we're going to kick it over to Farouk.
Yeah, love the conversation. And I think it was Blau that was saying that, he kind of expects this market to kind of linger on. And, it feels like this bear market, while it has sucked for profits, it's been really fun. It feels like connecting with everyone. And yeah, I was also in that space that you were talking about earlier with Kaleo, Farouk, Blau, myself, just singing that Blame It on Farouk song while the audience couldn't hear anything. There was some glitch on Twitter, so nobody could actually hear what was going on. And I mean, that was such a fun time. And it's like, where else do you get a chance to do that, right? Like, if that's a bear market, like, shit, I got no complaints. And yeah, it's kind of like, crypto ISO. I love your analysis, your spaces, your vibe. And you mentioned that, like, people aren't ready for $30,000 Bitcoin. And it's kind of funny because I might be one of them because, like, I work a day job, right? So I try to, like, sock away as much money as I can. And, like, I'm not mad at these prices right now if they stick around a bit longer, but it's like, just kind of like average in. And man, I'm just honored to be up here with you legends, like, and everyone in the speaker and in the listeners.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. I love that you brought that up as far as a transition back from we were talking about that earlier with Blau, that Blame It on Farouk space. And that'll be something I never forget, man. That was an absolutely hilarious night. I remember staying up late for that. You were freaking wasted. I forget what the narrative of what was going on with what led to that, but there was something where everybody was just sitting and you just rolled with it, man. And I thought that really spoke a lot about your character, that you weren't trying to deflect and fight back. You were just like, F it. Like, let's just have a space where it'll be a roast space for the next, like, 5 hours. And it turned into one of the most badass things. Nobody could hear it. Nobody could hear it in the crowd, but, we still just sat there and kept going with it. How are you doing tonight, man?
Yo. What's up, Kaleo? A lot of I love this stage. I got my favorite music NFT personality, 3 Lau, on stage. I do have a question for the panel, specifically to the the crazy Israeli wearing sunglasses and this AI picture called Udi. I wanted to ask you a question. Do you believe in seed phrases?
Oh man, I'm so glad someone brought up the topic of seed phrases. I was sitting here quietly. I wasn't planning to bring it up myself, but I gotta say, seed phrases are probably the worst human invention ever.
I love your reply to my tweet the other day. Like, okay, that's cool for Rogue, but what do you think of seed phrases? That was fun.
Yeah, I mean it's a bear market, so well, not anymore. It was a bear market.
We're so back.
We're manifesting
so back.
a bull market right
Yeah.
now, Udi. This is manifesting a bull market.
This is a Kaleo space. I quote tweeted you earlier, Kaleo. I don't know if you saw, and I said that the 2023 NFTs a superhero is going to be Crypto Kaleo. So I did say that earlier.
Shoot, I didn't see it. Pin it up there. I gotta give it a retweet.
Where the fuck is it?
Oh, there it is. I found it.
There you go. So, I just want to go on the record saying that I'm going on Twitter. I see NFTs are back! ! Exclamation point. There's 3Lau, Udi, everyone on here, and and we're talking about NFTs. Let's go. I love that.
Yeah, Farouk, what do you mean, man? My favorite, like EDM artist is Deadmau5, dog. Like, come on.
Yeah, bro. That Deadmau5 is not bad, but something about 3Lau's music that really hits.
Bro, I did pronounce it Deadmau5. The funny thing is, I'm so ignorant when it comes to this shit. Like, my brother's more into it. Like, and I called it. I was like, "Who is this?" Because he went as Deadmau5 for Halloween. He made the whole whatever. I was like, "Who's Deadmau5?" He gave me the hardest time about that. So I learned my lesson after that. Never pronounce the numbers. Numbers are letters.
I mean, what do you pronounce U2? It's U2. So 3Lau is 3Lau. That's the thesis.
Like my Xbox gamer tag. If you guys anyone remembers that, with all the numbers because all the letters were taken.
Farouk, are you in Montreal right now?
Yes, sir.
Are you not freezing your hands off when you go outside?
It's very cold, but I'm comfortably. I sit home all day, and don't move. But yeah, when I'm outside, it's very cold. It's very cold.
Dude, this is the coldest time of year out there, and I empathize. It's like raining on the West Coast. It's been raining in LA and in Vegas for the past 4 days, and I have no idea what to even do with myself. I just don't want to go outside, but I probably should. But it's a Monday, so we don't. It's a day off here in the United States. No one's doing shit except talking about NFTs.
It's the same here, man. It's like up here in Canada, it's really cold, and up here in Alberta, and I'm just locked away. So, but I still go out for
Oh shit, Alberta's really fucking.
Oh, it's cold as fuck up here. Yeah, so I look outside, it's just pure white, or it's
Are you in Edmonton?
Yeah, very close to there.
Close to Edmonton.
Yeah, close to it.
I'm trying to dox it. So what's your address?
I am from Edmonton. So it's such a small world.
What a small world. Yo, what's going on, my neighbor?
Canadian pudgy. Yo, Kaleo, so what's good with NFTs are back, man? Tell me, what's the download? What are you guys talking about? Let's hear it.
Bro, I mean, I've said it, but I'm not going to get tired of saying it.
Tell me.
I really think that we're right now in the exact same period of the cycle with what we were back in July, August of 21. I think that we're going to see that same type of movement off the base with the lows here. And, hey, I know a lot of really smart people that still think that could end up retracing here from whatever with Bitcoin and ETH, but they're wrong. We're still going to rally. Bitcoin's going to fill the gap back to the Luna liquidation, from the 40K is where I see, that's where I think we're going to see some type of distribution in that 40 to 45K range, maybe high 30s, whatever it is, distribution for a few months, or maybe not a few months, few weeks, whatever it is, round trip it back down to the 20s, whatever. So however long it takes in that ascent, I think that there's a lot of opportunity that's baked into the market. And I'm actually way more bullish on NFTs than I am any of these shit coins right now, because I think that, similar, bro, a lot of the shit coins that are out there are, they're VC dominated as far as the actual, who has what, and there are a lot of unlocks that are coming out here. So or soon too. So you're going to see, I think, a lot more of a bull case for NFTs where you don't have the vehicle to short them, where there are lower supplies baked into it. There is the viral aspect and like the fact that we've seen this climb up in a lot of projects over the course of the past several months without unique buyers rotating in yet, and as the underlying assets themselves that these NFTs are denominated in continue to gain strength, I'm telling you, man, there is interest that's returning back to the market. Unique buyers, it's going to be a parabolic type effect. As unique buyers return, as the overall volume continues to pour back into the market, the overall interest does too. And we're going to see, I think, a quick little rally like we did back in August of 21. I really think that it's one of those things. It's slowly, like the trend up happens slowly, then it happens all at once. So, if you're not accumulating your high conviction plays right now, you don't have much time to really be reactionary.
So you're saying smaller retracements? Are you saying like smaller retracements, but just grinding the way up, but just with smaller, like higher lows, and it just keeps on going on NFT specifically? I'm talking.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what we've seen so far, right? We've seen expansion where the expansion that's happened across a lot of these projects, it's usually maybe 2 or 3 days of a pump, right? Like it's not 2 or 3 weeks of a slow grind. It's 2 or 3 days of a pump. Then you see slow sell off, right? Slow sell off of people taking profit at whatever that new price level is. The floor of whatever project is thinner because it's people that are, we're in it for the flip, or they're in it to, they reached a point where they're, you know what, I want to rotate some of these profits somewhere else. But it's just a slow grind down, and then you get another quick leg up. And that's the way that the market dynamic works across these. And, so I think that, if you aren't showing some type of confidence in the broader market when everything isn't necessarily as weak, like that's why I'm hosting this too. I'm not hosting this on a day where everything is absolutely ripping, right? Like I'm hosting this on a day where a lot of people are saying, man, things are retracing right now. Like, is this run over? Right? It's a lot easier to fall for sentiment to follow price than it is, for price to follow sentiment. So I'm here and I'm hyped right now, man. I want, we should be the most hyped where there's the most opportunity. And that's not when shit is ripping. That's when shit is consolidating like it is right now.
Hey, Clay, that's why I wanted to come on quickly and congratulate Farouk, actually. Because he got bullied into buying a Wonky Stonk a few months ago by the community, including myself. It was at 0.06, I think. He's up 6x or 7x in the last, 2 months?
Let's go.
Let's
so
go.
Let's
congrats
go.
on that, my man. And congrats on Rug Radio, of course.
Thank you guys for telling me I appreciate that, but thank you guys for telling me about, to buy Wonky Stonks. I have a beautiful Wonky Stonk. It's actually my vault. Wonky Stonk 7138.
Bullish.
Paid 0.12 ETH. From someone called Hands of Diamond, but I don't really think so. And then,
bro, my favorite thing is whenever people that have names like that on an OpenSea, they're like Hands of Diamond or so and so Vault, and then you just see them like paper handing shit left and right. It's the greatest irony, but I feel like it's so prevalent.
That's the funniest thing I've heard, man. Oh my god, I'm dying over here.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
All right, we've got somebody new on stage. I'm going to kick it. Yo-Yo, you had your hand up for a while, and then PP just returns. I'm going to start with Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo, welcome up to the stage. How's it going?
Hey, Kaleo, thank you for having me up. The thing that I wanted to point out, because you made me think of it when you were talking about how there's all these signals or there's these gut feelings we're all getting about the market right now. It's been a few weeks to a month or two since I've seen anyone talking about Sol. And out of nowhere, I've seen a whole bunch of people talking about it again. And so like that is my indicator, or that is one of the indicators besides the fact that cute NFTs are mooning right now, or they're just going crazy, which has been exciting too. Anyhow, that's what I wanted to point out, that I've noticed that the other NFT chains have activity again and people are talking about them again. And I was thinking it's been a while since I noticed that.
Yeah, and people are returning to Twitter, it seems, too. Like, I've seen people like, hey, I'm back. How's it going? And things like that. So, it's like,
mental health breaks are done.
let's go.
Follow the
How
ones
many
who never
founders are
left.
going to be back in
Yeah.
like? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Hey, just quickly, if anybody's not talking and / done talking, if y'all could step to, there's one other person that I want to be able to bring up here as well. If you're not a big deal. We can wait.
I got to bounce anyways, Kaleo. Thanks for having me, man. That was fun.
Yeah, appreciate you coming, ISO.
Take it
Okay,
easy.
Bob, go ahead. Sorry for cutting
Pleasure
you off
vibing,
there.
No,
ISO.
I forgot what I was going to say too. My brain's like just all over the place, but I was going to say that 2023 is going to be the year. You should just coin it the year of the meme reversion instead of mean reversion. That's what we're going to call all the NFTs pumping.
Oh, I love
I think
that.
PP would appreciate that.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say to Mr. E, like about all the people coming back, you should be following the ones that never left. Anyway,
Let's go. Fuck
hey,
yeah. I love that.
Kaleo, Farouk, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. What do you think something like Blur is going to do to this NFT run? Because we really didn't have anything where you had instant liquidity in the last NFT run. And I think that really, really turned a lot of big money away from NFTs. But I don't know. I think knowing that, hey, like, if things go south, I can get my liquidity out pretty fast. Like, what do you think that's going to do to a true NFT bull run?
I think it adds a lot to potential for maybe not right now, but if you're looking at the potential for developing an NFT derivatives market, the more liquid an asset is and the less slippage that at least is apparent, like it makes it a lot easier to be able to develop, some true mark price for that asset. And obviously, there's a long ways to go for that, but I think that's one of the major benefits of it because, when you're talking about adding interest, adding liquidity, adding new buyers, being able to bridge the gap, that's one obvious way to be able to do that. And also, it adds legitimacy to it too. So as much as like I really like, I'm not looking forward to it though, because at the point that we get there, I think that a lot of the multiples that we've seen across the board, like the assets that are trading, that have those derivatives and that now have those short vehicles, probably don't have the same type of potential as far as multiples for, the risk reward that you might have in some other assets that aren't yet there yet. But I think that it is one thing to look forward to. Farouk, what do you have?
I mean, we'll see what the way the airdrop happens and goes down, right? But I think it's going to be good. It's exciting. You have Blur and you have the whatever BYC Co has going on, and you got some momentum right now. So, NFTs like ETH. We were talking about this morning with Mando on the show, right? Like how ETH was up like 20% on the week or something, and then NFTs, most of them like retraced 10% or so. I think we're in a good place right now. Cautiously, I'm like obviously I'm like a giga bull, like always, all the time, like ukulele, like a perma bull, like. But
perma bro.
Perma bull.
I was bearish for more of 22.
Yeah, but you used to be
but
see, it's okay. You see, you used to be a vile creature, and now you're gorgeous. You're like a butterfly. You're a beautiful bull with big, strong horns. You know what I mean? Like you're like right now, like I'm really here for the Kaleo fucking NFT arc. I will support it every day with my time and my RT button. But I think it's gonna be exciting. I wonder what happens medium term, but short term, I think it's gonna be really good. Like there's gonna be this injection, right? All of a sudden, but we'll see what people do with it, right? They pull it or they're gonna, ape shit.
All right, Easy, welcome up to the stage, man. I'm going to kick it over to you real quick because I know that you probably want to chime in on that quick Solana bullet point that somebody brought up a minute ago.
No, that's exactly why I pulled up. I mean, obviously being like very active in the Sol ecosystem, I think you're going to be surprised at like the traction that ends up continuing to gain pace there. The daily active users are ramping. You got brand new wallet creation up almost 3x since the FTX collapse. And like a lot of people have been saying like DeGod's leaving is going to be bearish for Sol. But there's a large portion of people and funds that I think are actually going to continue to circulate. And without this kind of like stranglehold on high liquidity and like larger trades, that opens up a lot more of the ecosystem. So like it's something that I've been eyeing a lot, and like I'm a huge data nerd. So looking into that, I'm like eager for that bridge to happen to see just how and where liquidity kind of cycles. And on top of it, like I ran a stream today going through like projects, and there's a ton of good mints on both blockchains coming up that have like, for once, unlike the last bull, doxed founders and actual like tools and functionality and technology being built across like both blockchains. So that's something I'm like very eager and excited about. Obviously, Polygon's going to be its own beast coming into play here with Utes going over there and launching an incubator. But I think a lot of this is opening up an opportunity for a lot more liquidity and even users. Like clearly someone bringing it up saying that it's looking like Solana's alive again. It's been alive, to be honest. Like it's been pretty crazy to watch the volume ramp in December, and even more specifically, daily active users increasing, and then first-time wallet transactions increasing at 200K a day for I think it's like the fifth or sixth straight day. So I understand like people multi-wallet and stuff, but that's usually a very good sign for new liquidity and new participants entering. And then I do have like a kind of a question too. Like last time the other side meta dropped to kind of mark the top of a bull rally, do we think that this drop tomorrow is going to potentially mark the same, or because it's not a new mint,
they're not selling?
That's what I think so too.
NFTs.
It's actually going to be.
They're not selling. They're giving.
Yeah, so I think it may actually stem like a positive, where more liquidity.
And the gamified aspect easy. It's going to make people want to spend time on.
Yeah,
this
I want to buy
like,
one.
This
just
stuff
to play.
genuinely has me excited.
I want to buy one to play.
You can play with. We can play with mine. That's what she's. Anyways, but
I'm winning that fucking key, bro. I downloaded Temple Run. I've been grinding. I'm getting my fingers ready,
dude. I used to Temple Run all day at school,
it's
bro. Like Temple Run was
but
the shit.
My last thing
Temple
too,
Run
bro. Are we worried?
Shit.
Like, what if the Blur airdrop is like far more minuscule than a lot of people are like speculating for? Like, that's my big concern. And I said it on like the Nifty Morning Show today too. And Spencer said that he anticipates like 100 to 700 million market cap. But what if this is like a lot less than we think?
I mean, hey, one way or the other, I don't care. Like, it's going to inject some type of stimulus into the ecosystem. Same type of thing.
I mean, at 100 is not bad either.
Right?
It's still,
I do agree.
It takes $5 million to send it on fire.
Take that and they're going to dump it into more NFTs.
Yeah, and it's something I'm definitely like eager to kind of just keep a pulse on. I mean, I've been aggressively bidding on shit just to get my points up for the third round myself. So I'm hoping that it's something decent. I mean, Solana got that nice stimmy for once with Bonk, so it was nice to catch something on as people call it, the poor chain.
I'm happy for Solana folks. It's the first thing I thought about when I saw the massive like Solana gigapump from 8 to like what was it at the top recently? Is it 23 right now?
24.8 I think was like the top link.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bro, I've been DCAing like a madman sub 20 because I was like, I fucking missed it last time. So I've been yelling from the high heavens that like under 20 feels like free money, even with the FTX collapse. And I think a lot of people feel that way when you just look at how many new people are trying Solana.
It is pretty funny that Vitalik totally bottom.
Pico bottom ticked the shit out of it with that tweet, bro.
That was beautiful.
Pico bottom for what? I gotta hear.
When Sol was $8.40, Vitalik tweeted that he sees a massive community on Solana and people trying to build and create cool shit, and that he's for it. So it's just crazy.
But that's why I fuck with him, you know. Like he literally like he showed love like big time, you know.
Oh yeah. Like the fact that he sees something that's solid and supports it, I think that's like literally anything in this space is, I don't know, man. Like you look at all the NFT projects that have been successful, they're not from people that have siloed themselves, except for maybe the Miladies. They are from like projects that have intertwined their ecosystems with other strong projects, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, this space, I think, is so much more about looking outside of your own little bubble and being able to grow it. If you can't grow your bubble, you're not going to have that level of success. And, you know, it's the same thing with like, obviously, you know, the underlying assets themselves. When you're looking at Sol, ETH, et cetera, when you see another solid L1 that has potential, like I respect Vitalik for giving them the shout out.
Milady.
Oh, man. Hey, guys, I hate doing this because this has been such an amazing space. But unfortunately, I do have to wrap it up. So, you know, be on the lookout for more of these. Appreciate everybody that
Let's
came up.
go.
It's been one of the best spaces we've had beginning of the year. We are manifesting a new bull run one way or the other.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. And hey, I got to say, shout out to like the Wonky Stonks community. I popped into one of the spaces the other day and it was like the best vibe.
They're lit.
Right? It was totally lit. And hey, you know, similar to how you cashed in your Blame It on Farouk space POAP with Blau, I would like to cash that in with you, Kaleo, and get that follow back. So let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Oh, shit.
We got a shooter on stage.
Shoot my shot.
Respect it. Got respect
Will
it.
happen.
Sheesh, the 600 people. Yo, if you're around 8 p.m., we're going live with ThreadGuy. We're flying back on the night show, Kaleo. So you should come by.
Minutes?
In 40 minutes. Easy. Come by, PP, everybody. Let's
Hey,
go.
you forget we got a
Everybody.
space too, same time. We didn't.
Oh, you too.
Oh shit, we gotta have
I think
multiple.
we're gonna make ours short. I think we're gonna push it over to NFT God's space.
All right, perfect.
Because you know he's got that space.
Two great people, two great
Yeah.
spaces. Check them all out. Share the love. Love you guys.
Peace.
We will
Later.
we'll round it out later.
Oh,
Hey,
have
bro,
a good
by the way,
night.
quickly.
What's up,
I've
Kaleo?
got everything basically set up with that Rodecaster Pro 2. You got to hook me up with your guy because I got to figure out how to hook up the
Hold on.
spaces.
Yes.
Everything's
Yes.
set up with that.
Yes.
Hook me up with them. Let's
Hold
make
on.
it happen
Boom.
so my audio
Boom.
can finally improve. And I can actually have a cool closeout song here.
The DM, the group DM has been created. Yo. Boom. Okay, done. All right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Take it easy.
Let's go.